Hey, I'm Rory Reid and welcome to VELO E-Series Live. We've seen games, sweat and tears, but now we're on to the main event. Today, 18 qualifiers get to take on Craig David and Supercar Blondie to see who's the fastest fan out there. Over 3 races, we'll see who has what it takes to become our VELO E-Series Series 1 champion. This is what we've been waiting for. It's time to beat your heroes. Lights out, let's go. Wow, we're here. Welcome. Hey guys, I'm Rory Reid, and this is VELO E-Series Beat Your Heroes. Quick bit of housekeeping first and foremost. It's COVID time, so we are operating in line with all coronavirus precautions. We're following the government guidelines. But with that being said, we are live from the Gfinity Studios in London. We've got Craig David live from the McLaren Technology Centre, and we have Supercar Blondie live from her home in Dubai. And in the studio with me today is the man, the legend, Matt Gallagher from WTF1. How you doing,
Love that. What an introduction,
I know, yeah, you deserve it.
Oh, thank you so much, mate. It's great to be here. It's awesome to have this concept of beat your heroes. I mean, I kind of wish I'd qualified now because, well, we'll get into it, I'm sure, but massive Craig David fan I am.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and great to have Supercar Blondie involved as well. And I'm really excited to see how well those two do.
Yeah, I mean, so I've met Craig David. I'm going to drop that one in.
Yeah, cool. I know. You've already said that before we went live. Whatever, I don't care.
We're bros. I might text him after this just to see how it's going.
I won't.
But me and you are bros too.
Absolutely.
I mean, we met in Madrid.
Yeah.
So at a football game, and here we are in the studio to do some esports.
Yeah, no, I'm actually really excited. We've got 3 great tracks. We've got Australia, Silverstone, Great Britain, and of course Monza in Italy. So it's 3 pretty challenging tracks, especially the first one, I'd say, which people forget is a street circuit, really. You know, it's not there all the time. It gets kind of plonked down when Formula 1 goes there.
Well, let's do a quick recap first of all.
Go on, yes.
So people, in case you haven't been watching the E-Series so far, so we essentially had Supercar Blondie versus Craig David. We also asked you guys to set the fastest times around the Melbourne lap for a chance to compete against Supercar Blondie and Craig David. We had 18 winners selected. They're going to join our 2 celebrity guests. We're going to have a 3-race series, Melbourne, Silverstone and Monza. We're going to do 25% race distance, and we're all going to compete for the ultimate prize, a trip to E3 in LA. That's a great prize.
It is, yeah, and hence again saying, well, I wish I'd qualified. But yeah, an awesome prize. All of the competitors actually won a prize just for qualifying, so I'm sure we'll run through that at some point. But it's great to have such a variety of contestants that can just simply pop on a game, pop a lap in, which needed to beat Supercar Blondie's time around Australia, and then you had a chance to race against 2 very high-profile guests.
All right, cool. So should we talk about the guests, actually?
Let's do it.
We'll start with your buddy, Mr. Craig David.
I wish.
You are well, he's my buddy.
Yeah, he's your friend.
Let's just break down some of his accomplishments in his career, and I'm sure you know all about him, so you take it away.
Absolutely. So Craig, we have a pretty little fact file for you, which we can take a look at right now, where we've got all sorts of amazing achievements, 2 UK #1 albums, 20 UK top 40 singles, nominated for just the 14 Brit Awards and 2 Grammy Awards, and more than 15 million records sold worldwide. Now, I've been told that he's been doing a bit of practice on Formula 1, apparently 25 hours or so he's got a little bit of experience on the F1 game. But Rory Reid's over there to go and speak to Craig to tell us exactly how he's feeling ahead of this event.
Craig David, it's Rory, man. How you doing?
I'm very well, Rory. How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling good, man. It's good to see you again. I know we're not together, but, you know, I can see you virtually, and that's good enough for me. Can I just take your mind back to boot camp and masterclass? How was the whole experience for you?
Do you know what I mean? Especially because it was my first time as well. I mean, it was wicked, and Supercar Blondie she put me through my paces. I ain't gonna lie, she was wicked at driving. So, but the whole experience was great. The whole McLaren team amazing, and it was great to meet up with you. Look, man, you're fast, man. You know what I mean? They didn't see that behind the scenes. You were very fast at the skill test.
I appreciate that. But you were pretty good as well. You did beat Alex at the Batak machine. When it came down to the actual racing, maybe that's not what people know you best for. But tell us about your gaming background. Are you a natural gamer? Is it something you really do every day?
Do you know what I love? I mean, I I'm old school from playing the arcade games from back in the day. So all those racing games, especially kind of all like the Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and all those kind of crazy ones, and then Sonic the Hedgehog and all that stuff. But yeah, it's amazing when you get in and see how technology's come along. When I'm sitting in the seat right now and the steering wheel and it's legit racing car, and the graphics are crazy right now.
Nice. So we've got Melbourne, we've done that already, but we've also thrown in a couple of extra tracks for you. You've got Silverstone and you've got Monza. Have you been practicing?
Do you know what? I've gone through some of the laps on all the tracks. I've got to say, it's the closest I'm probably going to get to any of those places. Next time I'll maybe be a spectator in the crowd, but to actually be racing there, I'm going to try and gas myself up like I'm at Silverstone and Monza. I'm trying to put it together. You know what I mean?
What's your favourite track out of the three so far?
I think Monza, man. It's just the Italy. I don't know, something about being there, that kind of, well, being there, but I'm trying to immerse myself in it. Had a little spaghetti before I came over, getting the vibe, and then we're good to go, you know what I mean?
So if you don't smash Monza, you know me and you're going to have a conversation, don't you?
Oh, yeah, standard practice, do you know what I mean? You're going to just rinse me like, oh, the talk spaghetti and it's Italy and in the ambience, and I just mash it up and end up in the gravel. Don't worry, though, I'm going to try my best, you know.
All right, great. Good luck, man. We'll talk to you in a bit. We're going to head over and talk to
Appreciate
Supercar Blondie now as well. Matt.
Awesome to hear from Craig David. Now, Supercar Blondie, our other special guest, we've got another fact file for you to just show you what she's achieved over the course of her career. And, well, I mean, it's pretty amazing to see. 5.5 million YouTube subscribers, 447 million, probably more after writing this graphic, YouTube video views, over 8.5 million Instagram followers, even more, I think, on Facebook, and named Influencer of the Year in 2018 by Esquire magazine Middle East. It's fair to say she has a fair share of accomplishments right now, and Rory, I believe, is ready to go and talk to her and see how she's feeling. Can she beat Craig?
Supercar Blondie. Alex, I'm going to call you Soups.
I love it.
How you feeling?
What's up? Mate,
I'm happy.
Nervous like last time.
I know, it's properly nerve-wracking, isn't it? I mean, you're out there in Dubai where you live.
It really is.
I'm sure the weather's a lot nicer over there than it is over here. But talk me through your experience
Yeah,
at boot
it's
camp.
beautiful.
Did you enjoy taking part at boot camp with Craig David?
Loved it. Love seeing you. Love seeing Craig. So happy that I won, obviously.
You got to drop that in there, don't you?
I'm going to take that to my grave. Yeah. I just got to rub it in, you know, before the start of the race, just psych him out a little bit, you know. So, yeah, it was so much fun. And just to be able to, race against someone who I've been listening to for years and years is just such an awesome experience. And we'd had such a great time actually learning what real esports players go through to train for something like this. It's intense.
And on that subject, we don't know much about your gaming background. Are you much of a gamer? Do you play?
I'm not much of a gamer, but I am a bit more of a gamer than I was last year. I actually started gaming a little bit during lockdown, as I think is the case with a lot of people. So I had one specific game that I was gaming, but I haven't had a lot of time on this game. I hear Craig might have had a few more hours under his belt, has he?
Well, he's saying he's playing it cool. He's saying that he's just been chilling out. I wondered though whether because you had that early victory, whether maybe that went to your head and you were chilling out because you had it in the bag, or whether you were going to actually take it seriously and try and get super competitive. And it looks like it looks like you're chilling.
Well, I'm quite chill. I'm confident because I've got my glasses this time around. Last time I didn't have my glasses, couldn't see anything.
Oh, you are taking it seriously.
You know, I'm taking this very seriously. I've got my glasses, so here we go. I'm race ready.
In the zone. So we've thrown in a couple of extra tracks for you. You've obviously done Albert Park. We've thrown in Silverstone and Monza for today. And you're going to have to do all three. Do you have a favorite track of those three?
I think I'm just going to have to go for Australia because that's the only one I've had practice at. So I'm a bit nervous about the other two because I literally haven't done one lap around the other two. So if you don't know the track, it's brutal. You can literally just be caught at any corner.
This is interesting because Craig reckons his favourite is Monza. So if he doesn't dominate Italy and if you don't dominate Australia, then I think we might be in with a little bit of a problem here.
Okay, yeah, I think so. I'm a bit nervous about this. I hope I just don't come last. If I don't come dead last, I'll be happy, I think. make
a prediction. Are you gonna beat Craig David?
I'm gonna say yes.
Cool.
Confident on that one.
Love the confidence. All right,
Not
cool.
that confident. Tell him I'm confident. Yeah, just pass on that message.
Nice. Well, good luck, Alex. Matt, I think they're ready.
Rory.
Let's do this.
It's brilliant to hear from Supercar Blondie, of course, has her glasses ready and couldn't see a thing last time, so I'm sure she'll be a force to be reckoned with. Let's take a look at the Melbourne circuit, our first race of the day. And, well, here we are. We didn't get to see it last year, unfortunately, due to reasons we all know. But here is a little circuit guide, and a lot of people forget this is actually a street circuit, and quite a difficult one. I'd probably say this is the most technical of the three. Monza obviously has a lot of straights, and Silverstone, again, it could be up there in terms of tricky, but this one, to start off with, Rory, you need to avoid those gravel traps.
Yeah, I mean, it's such normally the season opener, isn't it, this one? And it's where you get to see whether the teams have been actually concentrating and working hard during the off-season, and whether the drivers have been training hard enough, and whether they're ready, and all of that preparation just comes to a head. Super, super exciting. I'm looking forward to this one because it's going to be fireworks, isn't it?
It is, yeah, 25% race. So there's enough time to eke out an advantage and also to make a mistake. But you'll have both of our celebrity guests on the front row. So all they've got to do is try and hold off the rest of the 18 very fast runners that have qualified for this competition. I think it's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah. I want your predictions as well between Supercar Blondie and Craig. I know what you're going to say. It's going to be
okay. All right. Well, look, am I going to use my brain or my heart here? That's the thing.
Both. Come on.
Okay.
What does the head say?
Well, you know, Craig's playing it cool, but I feel like he's putting he said he's done all the tracks. Supercar Blondie hasn't done the other two, apparently, so I feel like Craig's
She
got
does have red glasses.
She can see, yeah, so I think maybe she'll have the edge around Melbourne, because she beat Craig already round there.
Yep.
But then I think, you know, when we get to the second two, Craig could start to show his true self and the amount of hours he's actually put in.
Can I ask you a quick question, Matt? Because I normally see you on WTF1, like all over the place at various tracks. Have you been to Australia? Been to Albert Park?
I've not. I've never been
the one that
to
got
Down
away.
Under, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, hopefully one day. I want to do the whole calendar, you know, that's the dream, just to tick them all off. But Australia, yeah, I mean, that's one that I definitely want to go to, just purely because it's usually the first race of the season. You know, you have the hype, and it's always one that people appreciate because it's F1's back in our lives.
We've all kind of fantasized about being a top-level driver before,
Every night.
And I think that for me, I've driven at Silverstone. I've been to places like Monza, but it just strikes me that Albert Park is probably one of the most difficult ones, along with all the other street circuits. But because it's quite a high-speed track, it's quite technical, and I think there are so many distractions. The thing about a street circuit is that there are real objects to crash.
Oh yeah, they're looking at you and going, hey, you better not touch me. Although, to be fair, they aren't running damage, so they will get away with it if they do have a little whoopsie into a barrier somewhere. It's fine, they can continue. But yeah, you are right. Australia is a very difficult circuit. You know, it's all about momentum around them. There's so many sort of mid to high speed corners and really fast chicanes. There's one in the middle sector in particular, the fast left-right, so difficult to get right. And I'm hearing in my ear, actually, that the race is about to start. So I'm excited for this.
Bring it on. I mean, I want to compete. Someone bring me a console.
Well, Craig said you're really quick, so I mean, come on.
On the Batak machine, I'm quick. But yeah, okay, so let's head over to Albert Park now and let's see if we can get this show on the road.
Here we go then. In the pit lane, getting ready, everybody loading up, including our two star guests of Craig David and Supercar Blondie.
The session will start in about 25 seconds.
25
so you
seconds.
You said that they're gonna have the advantage of starting on the front row.
Yeah.
How much of an advantage is that in the real world?
Oh, huge. I think overtaking in the real world is a little bit more difficult than on the game, just purely because you can send one on the game and there's no real issues of hurting yourself. Whereas this, you know, it's, Australia in particular is quite a difficult track to overtake. So I think
they should keep the lead on this one for a while.
Look, I'm not going to say should because I'm well known for my jinxing. So here we go then. We've got the predicted stops and 5 red lights. Here we go then. It's lights out. And Craig,
one of them's failed to start completely. That's bad.
Craig David has not moved off the line. Now he gets off the line.
He's dead last.
So that's something that's why I didn't want to say anything.
Supercar's
and that's Supercar Blondie round as well. They've both had terrible starts. We've got G-Manuel in the lead, 15 laps around this Australian Melbourne Albert Park circuit. And oh no, that's Craig David round again. And we have got our two super guests near the back of the field, Rory.
Yeah, so we've got Craig David slightly ahead of Supercar Blondie. She had the better start to begin with. Craig failed to start the race. Not sure whether he was slightly distracted there, but we're having a lot of offs at the moment. So the lead for the fight for the race isn't between our two guests, shall we say? They're competing more for pride at this stage.
No, but let's not forget there is a huge prize on the line for our 18 qualifiers. A trip to E3, all expenses paid if you end up winning this. We've got Supercar Blondie ahead of Craig David right now, but by 7.4 seconds. She's actually fighting Irenidis, that's very difficult to say, up the inside.
Down the inside. Brilliant move there by Supercar Blondie. Absolutely no fear. Can she make it stick? I think she's done it. Look at the concentration in her face. She's back in the zone after a shaky start.
She's got her glasses on and she's not afraid to send one up the inside. And around the outside goes the Red Bull. That's the fast left-right I was speaking about. They're still side by side. Goodness me, we've got no independent adjudicators to... it's just the game. We go under penalties for that if anyone's wondering about any particular moves. Oh no, and Supercar Blondie off again. You can see the vibration in the steering wheel, and that is... into the wall. Craig David could now start to catch up.
Well, now he's just under 7 seconds behind her. I think
Craig's through.
He's done it. Craig David is now ahead of Supercar Blondie. I mean, this will please him no end, because he'll know that he doesn't want to be beaten twice by Supercar Blondie on Albert Park. And right now, if he can hang on to that slight advantage, he's about 10 seconds ahead of Supercar. If he can make that stick, that'll be in the bag, because he's confident about Monza.
Yep, he is indeed. There he is, with the 10 and 2 position on the wheel, which I'm not sure is the best. That's more of a road car driving style. But either or, he's got through the first couple of corners nicely, which is nice. You can see the concentration as well. He is shifting, I believe, because all assists are available, but he's running manual gears, which I like to see.
Yeah, that's a sign of a man who's confident. He's eased
shaking his
into
head.
the race.
He's not happy.
He knows that he wants to be up competing in the top 10. I think he's got that ability within him, but he knows that by messing up the start that he's kind of left himself beyond what he's capable of right now. But I think he'll be happy enough to try and beat Supercar Blondie and get even on her.
Well, I'm just really glad that I didn't say that they should be leading after turn 1, because neither of them were. So down in 18th and 19th is Craig David and Supercar Blondie, but turning our attentions towards the front now, we've got Manuel ahead of Benson and Griffin Meek, our top 3, 2.3 seconds separating those 3. And Benson looks like he's just trying to close in that gap to Manuel. Of course, as I said, massive prize on the line, Rory. So these guys, they're going to, well, they'll want to win the first race to really get themselves off to a good start.
Well, absolutely. He's only 1.2 seconds, 1.3 seconds behind the leader now, Manuel, and he's just outside of DRS zone. So I think it's a bit of a ding-dong battle between these two. I think the race is going to be between Manuel and Benson. Griffin Meek, a further second back. Maybe he can hang on for third place. I think we've found that our top 3 are basically running in clear air at the moment, and quite a way back, Craig David and Supercar Blondie. At the moment, Supercar Blondie is still around 10 seconds behind Craig David, and she'll be massively disappointed with that after beating him off the line.
Well, there was huge amounts of talk, wasn't there, in your interviews about, well, especially saying that her glasses were ready, she's race ready, but unfortunately, you can't win it on lap 1, Rory. We all know this as motorsport fans, but you can certainly lose it.
Yeah.
And, well, she looks like she's still enjoying herself, at least, a little bit of a smile on her face as she heads down towards this tricky, hard-braking right-hander, and almost grimacing a little bit when she gets on the brakes. But lots of concentration. This game isn't easy. A lot of people, especially the professionals that we see. Oh, hold on, Craig's made a big mistake here. Oh, they both made a mistake.
Oh, dear.
Oh, she just caught up to Craig, who I think had his own little error. And now Supercar Blondie into the wall, trying to find first gear as the leader comes through to lap them.
Yeah, people say that esports isn't as intense as the real thing. I think you're seeing signs of that intensity coming to the fore right now, because when you're out there and you're competing against other people, regardless of whether you're in a real car or in the same room as them, there is that element of competition right now, and it's starting to seem as if that lack of concentration is creeping into their game somewhat, and it's costing them massively.
Yeah, it makes me think, with the spins that they're having, it's almost as though they're not running as many assists as I maybe thought, which is, props to them if they are. I can see, as I mentioned, Craig using the manual gears, and it's so difficult to take off and wipe off assists, such as manual gears even. A lot of people are used to that in a road car, but getting used to being, as Craig unfortunately spins into the wall again. I don't think he's running traction control, or at least is on medium, because he lit up the rear tyres there. And fair play to Craig. He's gone, you know what, I don't want any assists. I'm going to take this series at its most hardcore and go for it.
Whether that proves to be a wise decision, we shall see. But he at least...
I'm going to say no at the moment.
Supercar Blondie now closing in somewhat. She's 4.5 seconds behind Craig. I think that, you know, we are still, you know, within a scenario where the leader between those two is not quite decided. And I think, you know, with the race is very much on. So, especially at the front now, we've got Benson closing in on Manuel ever so slightly, and just behind Benson, you've got Griffin Meek, half a second behind. The lead, the race for second place might change hands any second right now.
It could indeed. So Griffin Meek will be within DRS. So if you're within 1 second of the car ahead, you'll have in particular zones on the track. We're coming up to one right now after this fast left-right. You'll open up the rear wing and it will give you an extra bit of straight line speed. You'll hear the little beep, and that'll mean that Griffin Meek has activated DRS, closing in on Benson, but not close enough into this last sector. But back to Supercar Blondie and Craig David, I don't think they really came into this expecting to beat anyone else, just each other. So whoever comes ahead, I think will be the happier of the two.
Supercar Blondie's actually overtaken Craig David now. Craig David now running in last place.
Oh, Craig's made a big error, 17 seconds behind now. I feel like it's anyone's game. Just stay on the tarmac and you're fine.
It's an interesting point, isn't it? Because you've got the guys ahead of Supercar Blondie and Craig David, and none of them are making mistakes. They're very, very focused. They're very, very consistent.
Oh, here we go. Change for second, potentially. Sorry, Rory. So Benson goes to the inside to try and defend. Griffin Meek going to look all the way round the outside. Surely not. There's a bit of gravel there, I think, with that onboard camera still side by side. Benson comes out on top. Griffin Meek went for quite an audacious move, trying to get that E3 paid trip. I like it.
Leaving it all out there. Absolutely ding-dong battle for second place.
Craig's caught up again. It's only 8 seconds. There are many errors out there. We said, didn't we, Melbourne, very difficult circuit to keep it on the black stuff.
So it's not down to who's the quickest. It's
not
down,
at the moment.
It's down to who makes the fewest mistakes.
Oh, she's got a smile on her face. Supercar Blondie missing her braking point into turn one. And I wonder if they're even running racing line, you know, because that racing line would tell you exactly where to brake, but either that or they just go, you know what, I'm not going to have this racing line tell me what to do. I will brake where I want to. And that's, yeah.
Let's face it, she's not running near any sort of line at the moment.
Some kind of line.
Yeah, but maybe the
Her
wet
own
line. The wet line.
Let's see how she takes these next couple of corners. Well, yeah, there you go. That's what she needs to do.
She's ahead of Craig David by 17.
Yeah, Craig's made another error again, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's actually, I believe he's made a major error, and that's again leaving Supercar Blondie with a massive advantage as we go into lap 7 of 15.
So here we go then. Yeah, we're nearly halfway through already, and Manuel is extending that advantage out in front to almost 4 seconds. Griffin Meek all over the back of Benson, looking like the faster car. That's not technically the line, Alex, that you should be taking through that chicane, but we'll pretend we didn't see it. Here's Griffin Meek, as I mentioned, right behind Benson now. Looks like the faster car. Really needs to get through on Benson if he wants to have any chance of catching Manuel out in front.
Looks like he's not quite enough room to send it down the inside there, but what a battle. What a view as well. Having that on board, absolutely nothing between them. As you said, he looks like the faster car, but Benson hanging in there, trying to maintain that second place. Will he hang on to it?
Craig David fans, of course, I'm one of them. I hate to tell you this, but 50 seconds now behind Supercar Blondie. It's been a dreadful lap, but there's Griffin Meek up the inside. Can he get through on Griffin Meek, on Benson this time? A bit of a swapper there, and it looks like they're still side by side.
Oh,
Benson
yes,
all the way around the outside. Griffin Meek, unfortunately, coming off worse there. Fortunately for him, he has a big advantage to P4, so won't lose any places.
Well, I mean, that could be his E3 dreams up in smoke. If it comes down to that mistake over the course of the 3 races, he's going to rue that. Looks like he's going into the pits.
Yeah, so it's Drivers' Championship, just like we see in Formula One. There's Craig David taking a very optimistic line through there. And 1 minute 10 now. Maybe doesn't look like he's having as much fun now that he knows that maybe Supercar Blondie is out of sight.
Matt, talk to us a little bit about the level of concentration required to do something like this. We know that, you know, in real top-level racing, you need that concentration in order to not make mistakes and be consistent. But what about on esports? Is it a similar deal?
Oh, it's exactly the same, if not more, to be honest, because when you're real-world racing, you have more adrenaline, more...
Oh, he's crashed!
Crashed again, yeah, unfortunately for Craig, but probably not the biggest mistake he's had that lap, but he continues as we now look at... Oh, hold on, oh yeah, Manuel's gone into the pits. I need to mention that. Bates is now leading ahead of Bettiatti. Both of these have yet to stop, but they're fighting for what is currently the race lead up the inside, and that is, well, an optimistic move as well from Bettiatti, unfortunately for him.
Didn't work out for him there.
Pay off. But back to the concentration, I feel like you need more as an esports driver because you have to focus on a screen for such a long period of time.
Yeah.
And every braking zone, every just millimetre on the steering wheel, if you turn a little bit too early, a little bit too late, you can cost yourself time. So as much as that Formula One and real-world drivers need to be at a peak mental and physical performance, so do esports drivers.
In a car, you have that level of feedback, though, don't you? You feel the G-force, you feel the grip from the tyres.
Oh no, Supercar Blondie has been disqualified for going the wrong way.
Has she's not going the right way around. That's a crucial error there.
Yeah, there's not many things the game will go you can't play anymore, but this is one of them.
That's quite bad.
So Craig David, if he doesn't get disqualified, will take the win.
All he has to do is keep pointing in the right direction, and he's beaten Supercar Blondie. I feel like he'll be massively, massively pleased with this result if he can hang on to it.
Absolutely. Look, Craig, just take your time now. Hopefully, I hope that one person that's with him in the McLaren Technology Centre will go, look, Craig, as he goes onto the gravel. But Craig, just relax. Just get in, just bed yourself in. It's okay. You're ahead of Supercar Blondie. Someone needs to tell him the gravel is not the quickest line.
Don't go the wrong way now. No, do not blow it now.
Do not go the wrong way.
Do not blow it now.
Engage reverse, Craig. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
right into traffic. I mean,
I'm glad for the ghosting system.
Yeah, that would have been a massive accident if that was real life. But yeah, we continue, and Craig David appears to be going in the right direction. Back to what I was saying about feeling that feedback from the car, the G-forces. You feel the feedback from the tyres and the steering wheel, that sensation in your bum because you're literally an inch off the ground. You don't get that in esports. You have to be hyper aware of other things. And the better you're set up at home, the more in tune with the car you become. But it's much more difficult, I think, in stringing together a lap time on a virtual system.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, it's all about the bum feel and everything else when you're in a road car or any sort of car. But when you're actually in the simulator, you have to rely on the vibrations on the wheel and the sound that's coming out of your headphones because you listen to hear if the rears are slipping, things like that, which is, I guess, similar in the sense that you're relying on your senses, but just different ones. It's a really interesting one. Here's Milo coming into the pits. Should have mentioned probably at the start that this is a 25% race and therefore it is mandatory to take a pit stop at some point to change over from one compound of tyre to the other. So you'll see the red walled, which is the soft, fastest tyre, and the yellow-walled medium tyres, which are a little bit more durable but a little bit slower. So Milo has gone for the faster strategy towards the end of the race, coming out in around 10th position, it looks, 11th, as we come into turn one. Some good opportunity then for Milo to potentially score some points on the faster compound of tyre.
This does raise a very important question. Is Craig David aware of the fact that he has to pit? Will he keep going?
That is a very good question.
Will he even spot the pit entry, or will he run out of laps to take that mandatory pit stop and be disqualified as a result? Only time will tell at this stage.
Yeah, I hope someone does tell him, otherwise he will also end up disqualified. And this will be, is it a draw, or does Craig win because he gets disqualified later? I don't know. We don't make the rules here, but I'm sure Craig will take that either way if it does end up being
he completed more laps than Silverstone, probably, so he can take at least a moral victory from that.
Exactly. Here is Craig coming through that very difficult fast left-right-hander. Obviously getting lapped by the faster cars, who, of course, have much more experience on this game. Craig really, just missing his braking point a little bit into that corner. He's popped himself in the gravel a few times there. Fortunately, this Codemasters game, they quickly get rid of the gravel on the tyres, and therefore he'll get grip pretty soon. He won't anymore because he's now back on the grass. But look, Craig, I respect him for just...
Oh, he's trying to pit? He's trying to pit?
Oh, is he? No.
No, he's not trying to pit. Okay.
So the reason why he's spinning there, I feel like he isn't running traction control because with full traction, that's being saved by the game. But Craig, look, I don't have anything to say bad about him, mainly because I'm a fanboy. but also the fact that he's taken this game mostly or somewhere near the hardest. Here's Milo on that faster compounded tyre, a little bit of squeezing from Sachendra, there you go, who holds on to 8th place at the moment in that Alfa Romeo. Milo on the faster tyre, trying to gain some more points to really put himself in a better position for the next 2 races.
Meanwhile, out at the front, the leader is Manuel, followed by Mr. Benson, 2.6 seconds.
Closing in a little bit, has to be said. I think it was around 4 or 5 seconds at the pit stops. Here's Milo again up the inside. Gets the 8th position away from the Alfa Romeo. A little bit of a touch on the rear diffuser there from Sachendra. And Sozzi as well in 10th place, closing in on the pair of them. So a great little battle here for P8. As, yeah, we mentioned the battle for the lead. Benson 2.7 seconds, still very close through that fast middle section of the lap. And now Sachendra will have the DRS, just not close enough to Millington.
Just to clarify, Craig David is now 2 laps down. That means he's been lapped twice by everyone.
Yep. Oh no.
That's not the best result for him, but he's still in the game. We now have 3 laps remaining. He appears to be leaving the pit stop to the very last minute. When he pits, he'll be even further back. He might be even 3 laps down on everyone else.
Well, look, how I'm going to see this, Rory, is the fact that the more times he gets lapped, the less laps he has to do, and therefore the quicker he finishes and hopefully doesn't get disqualified. That is if he puts the medium compound of tyres on. I'd hope someone at the McLaren Technology Centre will be telling him he needs to pop into the pits at some point, because right now, as you can see, he has not put a stop on the board.
I think he's going to pit. He's going to turn right, Craig, turn right. There you go.
Yeah, keep going.
There you go.
Lovely.
Good
Beautiful.
stuff.
I think he's listening to us, to be honest.
It's a bit of a relief.
So he comes into the pits and a little bit of a respite and a few words to the crew there as he changes on to the medium compound tyres. He will not get disqualified. He continues on.
Excellent.
And it looks like he's having a bit of fun. He was shaking his head earlier. Clearly maybe had a few more expectations than what happened. I don't think he engaged the clutch off the start. And again, solidifying my theory that he isn't running many assists, because if you turn off the assist for the start of the race, you have to engage the clutch, which is the upshift on your wheel, then let go of it when the lights go out. So I don't think Craig fully knew that process, so that's why he didn't get off the line. I mean, I'm hazarding a guess, but I think that's the way it's been.
Well, we'll have a conversation with them after the race finishes and maybe remind them that perhaps, maybe, if they don't fancy spinning out,
just pop in a few more.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no harm in having some stabilisers on.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, overdriving seems to be key right now, because not only are they maybe missing the racing line, but also missing their braking points. So I feel like they're trying too hard, which invariably ends up costing them even more time.
Yeah, let's take a look here, Craig, into this hard braking right-hander. And yeah, I mean, look, that's fine. If he does that, you're absolutely flying. And well, he's upshifting. If you're wanting to get better at this game, he's upshifting a little bit early, because you can hear the car bogging down a huge amount as he upshifted to 7th gear. That's not the line, but as Bates comes through in 4th place at the moment. But here we go, that's better. Better shifting from Craig here now. And 2 laps down, as you said. But still in the race, crucially. Supercar Blondie out of the race earlier for going the wrong way, which is probably rule number 1, or maybe rule number 2. Rule number 1 is don't hit your teammate. Craig unfortunately hits that same piece of gravel every single time. Maybe he bought a sandcastle set, I'm not sure.
I wasn't even aware that do not go the wrong way was a rule. I thought it was just a given. Like, if you wanted to survive, then going in the same direction as everyone else was kind of the thing to do.
Yeah, you would think so, but unfortunately no one told Alex. Unfortunately she's out of the race at the moment. Millington in P8 now with DRS in the slipstream of Griffin. Can he have a look up the inside? He's also, well, actually Griffin doesn't have DRS, surprisingly, even though he's within 1 second of Bolt ahead. And this is pretty decent racing, to be fair. A lot of these guys have not been making a huge amount of mistakes. Only 1 penalty on the board throughout the entirety of them, so nice clean racing, Roy. Yeah, apart from the nudge that we saw earlier, which was a bit naughty from, I believe it was Millington actually himself. So. Yeah,
clean from everyone else, not so clean from our superstars competing at the McLaren Technology Centre and in Dubai, as we are now on lap 14 of 15, nearing the end of this first race in Albert Park, coming to a crescendo. It looks like, you know, a very, very entertaining race so far. It's just a shame that our 2 stars aren't.
It is. You know, we put them in the best position we could possibly. We couldn't put them any further forward. Let's put it that way. First and second on the grid. But maybe next time, with Craig knowing how to engage the clutch with the wheel, we'll get off to a better start for Silverstone, which is our next round. Here's Millington up to P7 now, as I believe Bolt has made a mistake as he's falling down the order now to P10, make that 11. But now we have started the final lap with Manuel, who is going to be very happy indeed. Getting full maximum points, 25, Benson 18, Griffin Meek 15, and so on, the same as Formula 1 in real life. As here comes Millington, may have a great opportunity with Griffin here, has a bit of energy to deploy as well, up the inside, into turn 1.
Fantastic move, can you make it stick? Just about.
Beautiful stuff, but here we go. With Griffin, might have a little bit of a slipstream here, he does indeed, even though Millington has the DRS, but fortunately, with that extra bit of straight line speed, Millington holding on to P6.
Yeah, so it looks as if Manuel will bring it home. He's now got a 4.2 second lead ahead of Benson, followed by Griffin Meek, followed by Bates, followed by Bettiatti. Very, very consistent drive from our top 5. Really impressed by the quality. The standard of the people who eventually actually entered this race has been absolutely phenomenal, especially at the top end. Towards the bottom end, perhaps less so.
Here's Manuel very quickly, coming over the line to win the first round at Australia. A flawless performance, as you say, Rory, and 25 points, puts himself in a great position for the next 2 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a normal opening race at Australia, doesn't it? We had everything. we didn't have any safety cars because, well, you know, we didn't need them. Most of them were pretty consistent throughout the race. But yeah, excitement, overtakes. A few people going the wrong way. I say a few people, I just mean Supercar Blondie. But the first one, it's over. Albert Park, thank you for that.
Yeah, it was good. Great performance from Manuel. Great little battle as well between Benson and Griffin Meek, until Griffin Meek unfortunately made that error trying to get past Benson. Craig David has yet to finish yet, so we'll just cross our fingers and hope to see that McLaren come over the line to secure the win over Supercar Blondie in this first round. But the rest of the top 10, Bates, Bettiatti, Milo, Griffin, Chendra, Sozzi and Dines are your top 10. And clearly a slight difference in performance in some of these drivers, but it looked like it was quite close between Manuel, Benson and Griffin Meek, but Manuel was the most consistent, didn't seem to make any mistakes, and it was a great performance. Here's Craig David, just popping into the gravel one more time to say thanks so much, Albert Park, for having me.
I feel like he has potentially more gravel on his wheels than rubber at this stage, but it's good to see that he's made it around in one piece, and I think he deserves credit for that.
Well, look, it was a bit of fun, wasn't it? It was great to see. I'd like to see both of them get off the line next time round, but apart from that, and also for Supercar Blondie to actually finish the race and do a full 25% distance. I'm glad Craig actually pit. Not sure if that was off his own accord or someone told him to, but either way, finished the race, 100%. And it's 1-0 to Craig.
Good stuff. I hope we can have a word with Craig David and Supercar Blondie to assess how they feel about the race. Hopefully we can get a quick chat with them in just a second. But yeah, I mean, look, you can see the sweat. I don't know why she's sweating so much. She's in
Dubai, I guess.
that's her only excuse. We saw the level of concentration on Craig's face as well there. He was focused for the majority of it and did superbly well. But yeah, great first race from Albert Park. I'm looking forward to what might transpire in Silverstone and Monza next, because I mean, it might be more of the same, quite frankly.
Well, I just want to know what these two say to each other, because there was a lot of hype, a lot of, I've got my glasses ready. Craig's like, look, I'm just chilling. Just, I've done a few laps here and there. But Craig gets 1-0, and maybe there'll be a bit of banter between them when we speak to them. Yeah, really excited to see what they say.
Yeah. Are you impressed by that? Not by Craig. I know you love Craig David, so you're impressed
more than
by
life itself.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about the general standard, because well, let's go and talk to them actually, and you can assess their performance.
Oh, perfect.
All right, Craig, Supercar.
I'm going to try and throw off at the start anyway. I need some little bit of guidance here.
Craig David. I just want to say, first and foremost, massive congratulations on completing the race. Are you happy?
Did you notice you said on completing the race? But do you know the crazy thing is there was a point where I didn't notice that Alex had been disqualified or something had happened. So I saw that 19th place and I thought, well, I'm spinning out a few times. Maybe she's going to come and catch me up. That was never going to happen, was it really? It was that 18th was locked in and a few others went out. So yeah, it wasn't a great race, but it was decent.
Craig, great to chat to you. Matt here, big, long-time Craig David fanboy. But good to see that you got the 1-0 over Supercar Blondie. Did anyone tell you to pit, or was that off your own accord? Because we were concerned at one point you weren't going to change your tyres, and you would have also been disqualified.
Do you know what? That's where I had to go in for the pit. That pit stop was key, and I had some good assistance. My team was with me. We had the team members on the comms like, we need to pit. But you know what? It wasn't a great race, but you know, we can only get better over the other 2 races. So yeah, we finished it. Good start. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely love that. And I feel like, also, Craig, I feel like you've taken off a few assists as well. You're dabbling in a bit of the manual gears. I feel like you're not running full traction. You're taking this, you've turned it up to hardcore.
Do you know what? The manual gear situation, for me, to be honest, I want to try and do it as real as I possibly can, because as soon as you start to go into automatic, or you start doing too many assists, I say automatic, go too many assists, you're not really playing anymore. So I'm just like vibing it.
You vibed the start quite spectacularly there by not starting at all. What was the problem off the line?
Bro, like the one little button in the middle of the steering wheel that you need to press, at that point, that's when your life changes. You can actually, I was all good. I had my throttles down. I was in neutral, ready to go into first. Changed nothing. So I'd already started off like a terrible start, but listen, you can't blame anyone but yourself. I'm glad I finished it. Didn't like come 19th, which was a good vibe. No hard feelings, Alex. I know, like, it happens sometimes, but we've got another 2 races to go, so we can vibe, you know.
Well, look, she said that she had race-ready glasses on, but unfortunately got disqualified for going the wrong way. I'm assuming that's something that you were told to not go the wrong way, and that was one of the number ones in your rule book?
Yeah, Matt, my team said to me, listen, whatever you do, try not to go the wrong way, because in the game of racing, it tends to put you in a compromised situation. So I said, listen, I'm going to try and just go by the rule book and just maybe face the right way. Obviously, Alex went a bit rogue on it and said, listen, I'm going to see if I can go, you know, one of them Back to the Future things. If you go that way, maybe we might finish first. Didn't really work. Do you know what I mean? But
Shots fired. Craig, are you going to change your approach for the next race? Any difference in your tactics or your approach for Silverstone?
Do you know what it is? To be fair, my braking into the corners was where I was spinning out all the time. So in terms of when I got into the course, I was moving well. I was starting to get through the gears well. But when I was braking too late, and then I wasn't turning on the corner. If I can get that locked down and just be a little bit calmer, I shouldn't have to keep getting myself out of the gravel, and we can win this. Well, I say win this. We can be in the mix. 1 up from 18 is going to be a win for me.
There you go. Good stuff. Congratulations, Craig, on keeping it the right way round. Hopefully we can talk to Alex now. Supercar Blondie, can you hear us?
Hey guys.
Alex, are you happy with that performance?
Thrilled. Really, just thrilled.
What happened out there? What was the moment where you realized that it was all going wrong for you?
Oh, probably from the first couple of seconds. Look, when I've been practicing, and which was a few weeks ago with Craig, there was only 2 of us on the track. So I'm not used to having so many people on the track. So as soon as I took off, people were already bumping into me left, right, everywhere. And it totally threw me, because I'm not used to correcting that quickly sometime when someone bumps into you. So I was just getting moved all over the place. So I completely lost my cool. And that was it, I think. Yeah.
Alex, I feel like as supposedly supposed to be an F1 game expert here, and that's the reason I'm on this show, should we talk about what happened in terms of going the wrong way? Was there, how did that happen?
Well, no one told me not to go the wrong way. So, you know, I was just taking a shortcut.
That's not how shortcuts work. I think.
In fact, that's the longer way.
Backwards through the pit lane, then, you know, I could end up at the finish line faster. So I don't know, I was just giving it a go, you know? Actually, what I was really doing is just like relaxing, getting myself mentally prepared for the next race, because I actually had a good 5 minutes there just to close my eyes.
That explains a lot. I thought the glasses would help you. I thought being able to see the racetrack would prevent any catastrophic moments like, you know, going the wrong way. And also, you were very confident.
Yeah,
you were very confident about this track as well. This is your track.
I was.
But it all unraveled quite spectacularly. Will you change your approach for the next race?
I think my approach for the next race will just be to finish. I'm going to start with that approach. That's my game plan. Finish the race. Do you know, I saw Craig ahead of me a couple of times. I was like, oh, it's Craig. I've nearly got him. And then it just threw me off every single time and I went crashing into a wall. I've never crashed into a wall so many times before. But these other guys playing us, they're really, really good. I don't know where you guys found them, but they're super good. I feel like they're like Daniel Ricciardo, like undercover or something.
They might be, who knows? But quickly, Alex, I guess from watching and commentating that race, it just seemed as though just one or two less mistakes from either you or Craig, and you were going to come out on top. Did you ever, at one point, maybe after the 14th or 15th spin, decide to think, maybe I need to keep it on the black stuff?
Yeah, that's, as I said, for the next race, that's going to be my game plan, is to stay on the track and also finish. And so if I can do those two things, I think I've got a good shot to actually beat Craig this time. I see that we both got lapped. I think Craig got lapped twice. I didn't even get that far in the race to get lapped twice. So, congratulations, Craig. That's a feat.
Well done, Alex. I hope you'll do better next time.
Oh,
Matt, let's take a look at the classifications now and see exactly where everybody finished. And as you can see from the classifications, it looks like G Manuel took the victory, followed by A Benson, Griffin Meek in third place, Bates in fourth.
Pretty quick, actually, as well. I was just looking at the best lap times. In the 23s is pretty solid. It's not going to beat the top in the world, but it's certainly up there beating me, which isn't exactly the hardest of feats. But yeah, as I mentioned in commentary, Manuel getting off to a great start, 25 points, 2 more rounds to go before potentially securing an all-expenses trip paid to E3, which would be pretty awesome. But if you're scoring points in the first race, you're feeling pretty happy, I'd say. And there's prizes for the top 3 anyway. If you're finishing outside the points, you've got to make it work because, well, you've just got to send it now, really.
Absolutely. Let's take a quick look at the leaderboard just for confirmation about where everybody stands right now. And it'll be pretty much in the order that we've just seen.
I think we can assume Craig and Alex haven't scored any points in that first round.
Yeah, so 25 points for a win, 18 for second place, 15 for third. Not too bad. I think we've had a pretty eventful start to proceedings. I'm hoping that we see a little bit more consistency from the likes of Supercar Blondie and Craig David, but
Well, we've spoken to them now, haven't we? We've spoken to them, we've told them, look, stop crashing.
Settle down, go the right way. Yeah, it's not rocket science, is it?
It's amazing to see, but at the same time, it's great to have them both on the show. They're clearly both quite light-hearted about it all, although Craig, we did see a few shakes of the head during the race, but they're both having fun, and clearly they appreciate as well the competition that they're up against, lapping them a couple of times.
Yeah, all right, cool. So that was Albert Park. Matt, what's next on the agenda?
We have Silverstone. Let's take a look exactly what the drivers have ahead of them. Here we are then, Silverstone, the home circuit. And I've been here many times and been in the grandstands watching all kinds of amazing races, both sun and mostly rain.
Bit sunnier than normal there today.
Yeah, definitely. But this track is probably a little bit easier, a little bit more forgiving, I'd say. I can imagine there's going to be a few flying over Maggots and Beckett's, which we're looking at right now, these corners. We saw Craig and Alex both taking a few liberties when it comes to corner cutting. And then the last couple of corners, the last sector in particular is quite difficult, spotting your braking points, being patient on the accelerator. And, I'm looking forward to seeing how they tackle it.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Silverstone would be a track that I would fare better on personally. I'm more familiar with it.
Are you putting your application form right now?
I'd like to step in. I'd like to step in, quite frankly. But yeah, let's. The thing about Silverstone is though, it's completely different to Albert Park in the sense that it's not a street circuit. I feel like it's much more flowing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's less punishing because on a street circuit you have so much furniture coming at you, not literally sofas, but there's so much stuff flying at you from all over the place, and your level of concentration has to be higher for a different reason. Whereas at Silverstone, for me anyway, you get into a zone and you can identify little bits of references, visual references to figure out where you should be braking, where you should be turning. And if the guys have been practicing, then that should stand them in.
Which we know Supercar Blondie has not, because she hasn't turned a wheel round here. So there is a high likelihood that she'll be going the wrong way at some point.
Yeah,
but no, you make a good point about the fact that Silverstone is I think a bit easier to bed into. As you say, that I think the braking markers in particular are a bit more clear, whereas with Albert Park they kind of off a fence and things where you can't spot them as easily. I would suggest that both of them turn on the racing line for this one, just so that they maybe follow the right way. But either way, I think we should see better performances from both of them. We should see 2 cars finish of our celebrity guests. But
fingers crossed. I mean, for the people who don't necessarily play this game, can you explain a little bit about how the assists can actually help you stay on the straight and narrow?
Sure. I mean, it's made for both beginners and also for experts, whatever you want to call them. So for beginner, you can have things like the braking assist. So the game will physically brake for you and help you to slow down for a certain corner. Maybe 1 or 2 of them need that. You've also got the racing line. You've got traction control, where essentially it limits how much the rear wheels slip up, so you won't be squirming as much off the power. You've got ABS, anti-lock braking system, where essentially it stops you from locking up your brakes. So if you press the brake pedal too hard, you'll see smoke coming off your front tyres, and sometimes even not smoke from your rears, but you'll lose the rear. But with that assist, it will help you to slow down as well under brakes. So essentially, it's just to take off a few of those very difficult things that take a while to get used to.
Cool. All right. Well, before the guys dive into Silverstone and have a go at that, I think we should take a quick look back at Albert Park. A few of the highlights. Some of the overtakes were quite spectacular, and we had action pretty much everywhere on the track, perhaps more than you might see on a normal race in Albert Park. People overtaking all over the place, people flying off the track into the gravel. You see Alex there reacting very, very... Oh, Craig, looking like the Iceman.
You said lap 1. It's brilliant. To be fair, actually, Alex was ahead of somebody. It was 17th on lap 1 until she spun, unfortunately. This was, we thought this was the time we were going to get a big battle, and they synchronised spun pretty much, which was impressive.
Is this something that happens quite often, where you have one person in mind that you want to focus on and beat, and you tend to maybe drive a little bit too much? You overdrive and end up braking a little too late, or
yeah, overdriving.
All the way.
I feel like Craig needs to turn down his wheel sensitivity, or not sensitivity, but his turning circle, because he's turning it about 2 or 3 times just to get round a corner. I feel like maybe... Let's have a look at that. Yeah, maybe,
smaller input.
It does look in sync, actually. Maybe he was just turning round. but either way...
Just backwards.
There's Alex smiling away. Craig, look, that was the... Look, there you go. He clearly wants to do better, but then a smile afterwards.
Are there any tips that you would give someone who would like to better their game? Is there any small, little expert? I noticed that these guys, they're wearing shoes for a start.
Yeah, take them off.
Take them off?
Yeah, just because, the sole on your shoe, there's quite a bit of, well, it depends what shoe you're wearing, but, if you take them off, you have direct impact with the brake and accelerator. So you then at least know exactly how much pressure you're putting on the brakes, how much accelerator you're putting on out of certain corners. I'm sure that they probably won't enjoy taking their shoes off right now if I told them to, but it's certainly something as just to give you a bit more feel, which we were mentioning earlier.
Yeah, every little helps in a situation like this where you're competing against one of your rivals in such a heated battle. It looks like the reflexes thing is always a really important part of racing as well. I thought Craig would be better in terms of his reaction times, but he maybe let himself down ever so slightly.
A little bit of a dig there. Enjoy that, yeah.
Well, he's a man that's talented enough when it comes to his fast flows. But maybe on a racing circuit, he has a little bit of work to do.
He's going a bit too fast and a bit too flowing into some corners. We saw him in the gravel about 40 times. So would we? Yeah, no, there's still enough gravel traps at Silverstone to allow that to happen again.
Matt, at the start of our chat, you mentioned that there was a story about Abu Dhabi, was it? You want to enlighten us?
All right, it's happened. It's happened. Okay,
Don't think I forgot. What's going on?
Yeah. So as we mentioned, I'm a big Craig David fan, and 2017 Abu Dhabi, I was out there for the Grand Prix, and we went to go and see him. He was performing there, and I've listened to his music a lot, especially his newer stuff, his TS5, just brilliant. And I was actually shouting one of his raps that he was doing at the time, singing it. And I was quite near the front. And he actually caught eye line of me literally just bouncing with every single word. And he came over and high-fived me, and I've not washed that hand since. No, I have, COVID. But,
Is that what started the pandemic?
But, yeah, it was just such a funny thing. And I've got videos and all sorts. That's
amazing.
Yeah, it's a long love that I've had for his music.
Do you know what they have the saying? Never meet your heroes, beat your heroes. But I can confirm he's a lovely man. We met at the.
Cool.
Parents'
Oh, you're mentioning again that you've met him and I haven't.
We hung out. We hung out for quite a while actually. Just chit chatting.
Nice guy.
And no, he's lovely. Also, Supercar Blondie.
Yes.
You might not think that she is the fastest on a virtual racetrack, even though she's very quick in real life. But she's also someone who is also a friend of mine. I'd like to call a friend.
Yeah.
And, maybe one day you'll get to meet these people.
So
and
is the next show where I get two of my friends who no one's heard of? But no, back to Supercar Blondie quickly. It's amazing what she's done in the car scene and everything like that. Like
she's killing it.
The views and the numbers, and because working for WTF1 and you doing your YouTube stuff as well, you could constantly look at the numbers. Her numbers just blow everybody out the water. So many people love her, and for her to be part of such a series like this and have a bit of fun with it, even if she's not the quickest, kind of just shows that humility that she has.
Yeah, and I hope that some of her fans who are watching this, because she's got such a huge audience, actually maybe just think, well, I want to have a go at this. I want to get into esports or jump online and play, because let's face it, a lot of us don't have the opportunity to go outside as much as we used to, and this is one of the avenues that you can kind of let off some steam, and it's a great vehicle for that.
It is indeed, yeah. I think especially with the pandemic and everybody being stuck at home, it's been a great time for people to get stuck into it, and so many people have, and it's been awesome to see, because then we can do shows like this, which is always fun.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what's your setup at home like in terms of your gaming rig?
Oh, it's a big boy. It's a big boy gaming rig setup. Yeah.
You're taking it seriously, yeah?
Oh yeah, it's the full seat, full, proper metal, like holding everything in place, because I use a wheel that's very, very hard sometimes when you turn it. The force feedback can be pretty intense.
Have you got multiple screens? Are you allowed to have multiple
I've got
screens?
one, but like really wide.
Right, okay, cool.
So I feel like 3's a bit too much, but one really wide is kind of like 1.5,
I feel like the speed that some of our guys were showing out there in that first race today, that they were 3-screen guys.
Yeah, you reckon?
They were taking.
You've just judged them. You've gone, you're quick, you must have 3 screens.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how you do it. The faster you go, the more screens you have.
You were saying to me before that you're competitive off camera. You were saying you're very competitive. Is that what you'd say if you got beaten by somebody? It's got 3 screens. You can see more than me.
You have to. You have to use. It's like racing drivers in the real world. You have to use any excuse you can to forgive your poor performance. Otherwise, people just think they have an edge over you.
Although to be fair, Craig said, "Look, it's all down to me." Remember we spoke to him about his performance. He said, "Look, it's down to me." The team we're trying to help him, but at the end of the day, he's the driver.
Yeah, he's humble. He's humble. No, congratulations to him. We're just moments away from racing at Silverstone. I have a man in my ear right now telling me that the game is loading up. So we'll be
That's
there.
always exciting. I love hearing that in my ear. the race is about to start. Okay.
It is. Tell me about what your kind of ritual is during a Sunday afternoon.
My ritual?
Yeah, because everyone has a ritual.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You settle that you get whatever drink you want ready, get it in the room. You tune into the race. You have some people will have maybe an iPad with the timing on it.
Yeah.
And then you sit in your favorite seat.
Oh yeah.
You might have your favorite team's T-shirt on, maybe a hat. If you want to push it a little bit too far.
Yeah, is that you? Are you just describing your Sunday
I'm setting myself up there, aren't I?
That's me.
But then, after you watch sort of the beginning of the race and everything settles in, because it's chess, isn't it? Really, you get to the middle of it just after the pit stops. You suddenly have a nap. Quite frankly, are you one of those? Are you a napper?
Oh, I can't nap. It's my job to watch every single second.
Of course.
If I miss anything, people are on me. But same kind of ritual though. When you wake up and it's a race weekend in general. You've got qualifying, even free practice on a Friday. You wake up and you go, yeah, it's back. And then you just pop on the TV, have a little digestive biscuit or whatever, and just it's just brilliant. It's, dip it into your tea, and it's just as a racing fan, a lot of people I'm sure can relate to that.
Matt, I feel like you're missing out on one of the biggest joys of watching the race on a Sunday, which is that that 20-minute snooze that you get when nothing is happening.
That's
during
not
the
technically
race.
watching the race then, if you're snoozing, is it?
Well, no. You got the beginning. You got the first pit stop. You got your nap.
So you're telling me for the second race when everyone's pitted,
I might have to. I might just
Okay.
have a little snooze. But the thing is, Craig pitted so late that if I did snooze, it would be like on the last lap. So he's messed up my plans ever so slightly there.
Oh, I love that. I love how you've just openly admitted that you snooze through racing, which is fine. As long as you don't snooze and sleep on the job whilst I'm commentating with you, that's fine.
No danger of that. No danger of that. So we've seen Melbourne. We're about to see Silverstone coming up very, very shortly. We're going to see Monza in a second. Have you been to Monza?
I've not. You keep bringing up the places I've never been or people I've never met. I love it. Have you met the Queen? No.
not deliberate.
No, I've never been.
May I just say I've been to Monza.
I'm very jealous. What a place to go.
Brilliant. It's brilliant. Do you know the best thing about Monza is when you're walking to the circuit, you walk through a park. I've forgotten the name of the park, but you basically walk through a park, and with everybody, the tifosi and all the red, and everyone's super, super excited. You get to the circuit, and then the buzz around the circuit is tremendous. It's I think it's the same anywhere, but you know, Monza.
I think the buzz as well. Yeah, Monza. I'm so jealous. You know,
after the race, when you're on the
flooding on the track,
the podium. Yeah. It's tremendous.
And to be fair, Silverstone, which is coming up now, also has a pretty good buzz, I'd say. In certain areas of the track, you know, especially certain fans, you know, they'll be having all sorts of fanfares and all sorts of crazy stuff. And the flooding onto the track as well. You know, you get, you know, they let it happen for all the fans to go on and see the podium and things like that. I don't think this is going to happen for this one because it's in a virtual game, but it's still great to know that, you know, some of these tracks, and I can't think of many where there isn't that buzz. You know, there's so many Formula One fans out there, and so many haven't even been to races.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. If you haven't been to one, go to one.
Absolutely. No, it's tremendous. I mean, it's a different experience. Watching it at home is great for different reasons because you have vision of everything going on. You know where everyone is, but actually being at a race is tremendous. Speaking of which, I think we are ready to go to Silverstone right now.
Let's do it.
It's about to kick off. Let's take a look.
Here we go then. The lights are coming on now. We've got 5 red lights. Can Craig David get away from pole position? He does indeed, and he's leading. Coming down towards turn 1, Supercar Blondie gets a slightly worse start, losing a couple of positions, but Craig David leads the way.
Incredible stuff. No, he's in second place. Can he hang on to second as he goes around?
Oh, he's got on the inside, has he? Oh, goodness me. Craig getting stuck in. Loved it.
Oh, no. He's gone horribly wrong.
And that was not Craig David's fault, unfortunately. That was the Williams cutting across and appearing to look like he lost traction there. Craig David, unfortunately, dropping down. Supercar Blondie as well at the back, but look, we had one corner of Craig David leading the race, which I enjoyed.
I mean, he'll take that to his grave, leading at Silverstone for a full 17 seconds of a Grand Prix.
Here's the predicted pit stop strategy very quickly. Oh, goodness me, that's very close indeed between Ismail Oglu and Craig David.
We've settled into a bit of a pattern now with G. Manuel leading the race and Supercar Blondie about 6.5 seconds adrift of Craig David towards the back of the pack.
Indeed. But yeah, as you say, Manuel is now leading once again. The race winner from Melbourne is leading the way again. Craig, I'm not sure. That was a little bit slow through there. Cops is actually flat.
Not today.
Not today, it's not. But look, I appreciate the fact that he's taken it a bit slower and making sure he stays on the tarmac, just like we said. But Supercar Blondie is closing in on him 1.5 seconds. I want to see that battle race direction. Show us Craig David and Supercar Blondie fighting right now. Here we have it.
It's rare that you have two commentators screaming to see the battle at the back of the grid, but we're seeing it here today.
Oh, bit of contact. Bit of contact from Supercar Blondie on the rear diffuser of Craig David, but Craig continues to lead the way. Oh, Craig's going the wrong way. He tried to take to the escape road there. That was an interesting little move, and unfortunately for him.
And now Supercar Blondie's overtaken Craig David and extending the gap between the two of them. I wonder if he's going the wrong way.
Please no. Craig, we told you that's not the way, and he quoted a certain film, and that's not going to happen. But he seems to be going the right way now because he's not losing too much time to Alex ahead, Supercar Blondie. And, well, we saw a little bit of action there, which was great to see. And another reason why I feel like Craig David isn't running racing line is that he took to the escape road thinking it was the track.
Well, I mean, I saw a little bit of a replay from Craig as we were in Albert Park, and I did see Racing Line.
OK,
so I'm not sure if you can use that.
Wow, you've outed him there. I was saving his face.
No, he definitely has that assist on. I can't speak for traction control, but I believe they have Racing Line. Up at the top of the field, we got G. Manuel leading by 2.9 seconds. Bettiatti only ever so slightly off the lead and chasing down the lead at the moment. G. Manuel looks like he's the one in pole position.
He's already booking his flights by the looks of things. 3 seconds ahead, as you say. Bettiatti, I think, scored some decent points around Melbourne as well. Griffin getting stuck in. Bates, we saw a great little battle last time out as well, running in 4th. So anything can happen. Manuel could easily get tangled up with Craig David or Supercar Blondie in that next race, which of course they will both be on pole one, or not on pole, but on both on the front row for the final race, which is at Monza, which is, I mean, that first corner is going to be something to behold, isn't it, Rory?
Absolutely. Let's just take a look at the midfield now. We've got A. Benson. Benson finished quite high up in Melbourne, but is now toiling in 8th position, just ahead of Dines, Ismailoglu, Shandera, Sozzi, Milo, Cooper Groves, and at the back of the field we have Craig David 17.5 seconds.
And has a penalty on his shoulders as well, unfortunately for Craig. So he's been a naughty boy and gone somewhere where he shouldn't have, and the game has slapped him on the wrists. But Supercar Blondie is still in this race and looking like the quicker driver, despite she's never turned a wheel around here, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, don't speak too soon because it can all go to pot.
Oh, goodness me, that's so close. I'm not even sure where Benson went there, and there's a car round as well. I think that was Duart, who is facing the wrong way. Bolt up to P6 after wheel banging with Benson, I believe it was. And Duart now down to P8. So these are crucial points if you want to be getting stuck in that top 3 come the end of this 3-race championship.
Absolutely. Craig David will be somewhat disappointed with his performance so far, but I feel like Supercar Blondie has a point to prove in this race after finishing, well, not finishing the race, after being disqualified in such horrible circumstances at Albert Park. But now she's maintaining some air of consistency, trying to hang on to 18th position, and she's maintaining that gap between herself and Craig David.
Look, this is what I want to see, is the fact that these gaps aren't changing a huge amount because neither of them are in the wall or facing the wrong way. There's a lot less mistakes from the pair of our celebrity guests, which I'm very impressed with, even though Craig did take cops at 50 miles an hour. But look, it's fine.
Sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah, he just needs a bit of training from me. It's fine. Look, if we need to set up a meeting and I'll do some one-on-one training, that's fine. Supercar Blondie now extending that gap to 22 seconds in 18th place ahead of Craig David, and negotiating the final few corners just about right.
Yeah, we are on lap 14 of 13. G. Manuel.
Lap 14 of 13, well, that's impressive.
That's flown by. Lap 4 of 13. I'm getting ahead of myself ever so slightly. We've got Manuel leading the race, looking really good out there. 3.5 seconds ahead of Bettiatti and Griffin. Griffin not far behind Bettiatti though.
Still within DRS, just about. There's a bit of dust flying up from Griffin Meek, who didn't manage to get through on Bates last time out at Melbourne, with a DRS this time. Into Stowe corner, nicely done on the racing line, hits the apex and gets ahead of Bates, but Bates is on that medium compound of tyre, so he'll be running longer into this race as he's on the more durable but slower compound of tyre, whereas Griffin Meek, softer, but his tyres will degrade quicker. Here's Millington just running on the outskirts of the points in P10, just behind Sachendra in P9, and negotiates the chicane quite nicely on the medium compound of tyres as well, so going for that faster strategy towards the end of the race.
Do you think there's much of a difference in the view that you choose in this race? Because you can have quite a high view of the cars,
yeah,
maybe give yourself more of a kind of bird's eye view of what the track is doing, or a more kind of cockpit view. And do you think that as novices, that maybe a change of view might affect the performance of Alex and Craig, or do you think that it doesn't really matter so much?
Yeah, I mean, when you pick up a game, I think the most favourable for the Formula One games is the T-Cam, and I think that's similar for most racing titles, to be honest, as I believe that was Sozzi and Dines going side by side into this middle sector. But I'd say this is the T-Cam.
That's the one you want.
Which is the easiest, because you can see quite a bit of your car, you've got quite a nice awareness of cars around you can see cars coming from your right and your left. Some like to do the cockpit to get full immersion. But that one doesn't really have less awareness, and I'd say it's quite difficult, or more difficult, to spot braking points, hit the apexes and so on. So for me, if you're picking up the game, this is the camera angle to choose.
Well, we've got Supercar Blondie maintaining that gap over Craig David right now, still brought down ever so slightly now. Craig within 25.5 seconds of Supercar Blondie. So it looks like they've kind of found their groove, they're learning the track, they're understanding where the braking points are, where their turning points are, and also, getting to grips with the controls, because let's face it, that's half the battle, is feeling that sensitivity of the wheel and understanding how your little movements can affect every little movement on the car itself. So they're bedding in, I think.
They are, and I'd be interested to kind of tweak their first couple of laps, maybe just lap 1, because without that, I think they're in the mix. Well, maybe not in the mix, but I think that they're probably where they are now, but not half a minute and a minute behind respectively. So I think that both of the guys are really starting to pick up their pace, their consistency, and without ending up in the barrier, they may actually be in the midfield for at least a few laps.
Yeah, perhaps half a lap at least. Craig David now slipping back just slightly. You know, he's lost. It looks like he's losing about a second to a second and a half per lap, or at least he did on that particular lap. So he's obviously made a slight mistake there. Good concentration levels from Supercar Blondie. Good consistency. Still about 36 seconds behind Barber Skog.
Supercar Blondie isn't really losing much time to the Ferrari, and in fact actually gained quite a chunk on that last sector. It's now down to 29 seconds. So Alex has actually put in a very nice performance, I'd say, in 18th right now.
Yeah, it's good to see because this wasn't one of her favourite tracks. She's only, according to her...
She's never experienced it.
She's never heard of Silverstone.
She's making her mind up right now.
It's interesting to see because it's set up quite nicely. We've seen Craig demolish Alex around Albert Park. We're seeing Supercar Blondie demolish, or so it seems, Craig David around Silverstone. Despite this not being her favourite track or one that she's ever experienced. And we heard that Craig David was most looking forward to Monza, so it's set up to be quite a close one. So the classifications at the end of this 3-race series, don't forget 3 races, 25% distance, it's all set up to be pretty tight, I think.
It is indeed. We haven't had the first round of pit stops yet. Here's Supercar Blondie taking a decent amount of speed through Copse, it has to be said. Which was the old Turn 1 before Silverstone was renovated, now into the famous complex of Maggots and Becketts. And look, you know, not the fastest I've ever seen, not the slowest I've ever seen. So not too bad at all from Supercar Blondie. And you can see, actually, she's not using hardly any of her ERS. I'm not going to get too technical, but if you look on the steering wheel, that yellow bar just underneath overtake is basically the battery deployment, how much ERS, energy recovery system deployment the drivers have left, and she's got 100%.
She could go even faster.
She can turn the wick up, is what I'm saying. Even though I love how far she's turning the wheel to then turn it back. It's probably not the best, and I feel like maybe that's the one that's okay. Maybe she's turning a little bit too much for what is worth. But either way, she wipes out one of the braking markers. She's like, look, I don't want to see the 100-metre borders anymore. Goodbye. So that's now broken. Here's Manuel, our series leader, and really hasn't been touched at all in these first 2 races. Coming out of the pits onto the medium compounded tyre, pushing those soft tyres quite a fair way as we start lap number 8. Bettiatti, Griffin, and pretty much everybody in the pits. Bates is the only one to carry on, but I believe he is on the mediums at the moment, so he'll go to the softs. Probably in, well, actually, he should have come into the pits pretty early because all of these drivers have managed to go 7 laps on the soft tyres, and you want to be on the softs for as long as possible.
Let's just recap what is at stake.
Let's do it. Tell me.
In this tournament here. So everybody who's entered, literally all of these drivers, will get a steering wheel and pedals. The top 3 will win a games console of their choice, and the overall winner will have an all-expenses trip to E3 in Los Angeles. So there's a lot at stake. They've all been rewarded quite handsomely already, but the better you perform, the more you win. You can get your hands on a console if you finish in the top 3, or, you know, we'll take you to LA. And quite frankly, you know, who doesn't want that?
Absolutely. It's a great prize. Here's a little look at Craig David, who is right in the mix with a driver lapping him, coming through Maggots and Becketts. We saw it with Supercar Blondie. Maybe a little bit more on the ragged edge from Craig. And you can see the little smirk as well. He's never happy, is he? He wants to take it just a bit quicker, but then as soon as he takes it too quick, he's in the gravel. But it's all about working out those fine lines. You know, how hard can you push this Formula One car without going over the edge?
Yeah, I believe that they could probably push it quite hard, to be honest.
Quite a lot harder than what I'm saying, but I'm trying to be nice.
Especially to Craig.
Absolutely.
Team Manuel still in the lead, only by 2.8 seconds though from Bettiatti. Bates in 3rd place. We've got Griffin just overtaken Bates.
Okay, interesting. Griffin Meek in P4. So Bates coming into the pits has lost a bit of time staying out on the mediums for a bit longer, but is on the soft compounder tyres now. If I was his pit engineer, I would have told him to pit maybe a couple of laps earlier because these softs can go quite long around this circuit. But he's in P5, 4.4 seconds behind Griffin Meek. Certainly an opportunity at getting P4. Depends how quick he is if he looks to maybe get on the podium, but Griffin Meek is the first in his sights.
Matt, can you just talk to us a little bit about the tyre compounds and
Yeah.
the difference in performance that you get from the soft and hard tyres?
Sure, I mean, there's soft, mediums and hards available to these drivers, as well as intermediates and heavy wets, but we don't need either intermediates or heavy wets because they're used for when there's rainy conditions. So the soft tyres, which a lot of the drivers used at the start of the race, are the fastest but least durable tyres. So they will run out of performance quicker than the mediums, which are the yellow wall tyres, and the hards, which we've not seen really today at all, which are the white striped sidewall tyres. So I'd say there's probably around 7 or 8 tenths. Depends what kind of driver you are. But for these guys, maybe, up towards a second in performance right at the beginning when it's fresh softs compared to sort of 1 or 2 lap old mediums. So there's an opportunity for Bates with, it's lap 10 of 13. There's enough time to catch Griffin Meek. It just depends how well he utilises that fresh rubber.
Absolutely. As we take a look towards the back of the grid now, looks like Alex has extended her lead over Craig. Craig now 35 seconds behind Alex. It doesn't seem as if they're making massive mistakes, but Craig's some minor errors are kind of sneaking into his game, or Alex is just keeping super consistent and maintaining that advantage over Craig. But it looks as if they've both stepped their game up massively compared to their performance in Albert Park. And right now they're both, have they been lapped yet? I don't believe they have.
I was trying to work it out because my maths, Craig definitely has, because he's been pit now, he's pit now as well, and it's around the 1 minute 24 or so around here. So I think Supercar Blonde is around the area of being lapped, but right now hasn't been, but she still has to pit. Craig David has come into the pits and is on those medium tyres. And let's see if Alex
so Craig has pitted?
Yep, so he's just come into the pits, the lap just gone. So he's now onto the medium tyres. Supercar Blondie's still on 8 lap old soft tyres at the moment.
So all is not lost, perhaps. We might see a little bit of action towards the end.
Unless Alex's stop is 1 minute. I like where you're going with this, Rory. You're trying to hype up a last lap shootout, but unless she goes the wrong way, I don't think we're going to see it.
Well, listen, when you go into the pits, there is that mental and physical reset, isn't there? You lose the intensity that you had when you were out there on the track, and you have to kind of come out there with a different grip level, a different set of tyres, and that might feed into some uncertainty and cause Alex to lose that concentration she needs.
Well, we're about to find out. She's in the pits now.
Right, here we go. My prediction won't come true, I'm sure.
No, but you're hyping it up. You're doing the commentator duties. I love it. Craig David, we're looking at right now, coming through Maggots and Beckett's, and here is Supercar Blondie exiting the pits. And Craig's still in that last sector, so probably still 25, 30 seconds behind Supercar Blondie, who comes out in the first few corners. Just pops those fresh rubber just onto the grass, just says hello. And not the fastest way to go about it, but...
ruining that set of tyres immediately as she exits the pit.
Fortunately, the game isn't that harsh. I know in real life that would actually affect your grip for quite a few laps, but for this it washes off pretty quickly, which is nice. Here's Benson. In P7, running behind Bolt. And let's see if a change for P6 can happen. They're both on exactly the same strategy, the medium compounded tyres, 2 lap old yellow walled tyres. And that is a great run for Benson through Copse. And no way through here, it's single file, but next opportunity will be the DRS zone down Hanger Straight, which will come very shortly. We will hear the beep, which will happen around now. Maybe. Here we go then, in the slipstream. Past Bolt, very easy, with the opening of that rear wing, which we just saw there as it closed into the braking zone. When the drivers press the brake, the rear wing closes automatically, because if that stayed open, the rear would fly off because you'd lose a lot of grip and aerodynamics.
Let's just take a look now as we are on lap 12 of 13. G. Manuel in the lead by 4.8 seconds from Bettiatti. Griffin a further 4 seconds back. Griffin Meek just over half a second behind Griffin. We've got Bates in...
Imagine those two in Formula 1, Griffin and Griffin Meek.
on different teams, no less. We got Bates, we got Bolt, followed by Benson from Milo, Dewar, Ismailoglu, Sozi, Shazendra, Maheshwar, Dines, Cooper Groves, Barber Skarg. I can't see the rest of your name, so I'm sorry. And then Lironimedes. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly and I'm not butchering it. Followed by Supercar Blondie.
Oh, it's the beauty of commentary, of butchering people's names.
And Craig David, 42 seconds adrift of Supercar Blondie.
Absolutely love it. So yeah, on the penultimate lap, Griffin Meek 7/10, has that DRS available to come at Griffin for that final podium position, which could be crucial if they want to secure a console of their choice by the end of Monza, the final round, which is coming up very shortly in this show.
Can I just ask as well, Matt, what's your setup? Are you a console? I know you can't say what console, because
PC. I'm a PC player. I'll stop.
Can you say PC? There are many types of PC.
Non-console.
Non-console.
But yeah, I'm on a PC guy. It used to be console, but I then realised that there's so much more performance that you can have on a PC. But here's Griffin Meek, so close now behind Griffin. But this first sector is very difficult to pull off a move. But we'll be coming down Wellington Straight very shortly with DRS as well. Griffin doesn't get a great exit, and this should be easy pickings for Griffin Meek now with the DRS. Is he going to deploy? He's deploying his energy as well. So is Griffin. Goes defensive on the inside, round the outside goes Griffin Meek. Can he pull off the move all the way round? He can indeed. That's a beautiful move.
Fantastic stuff. Absolutely brilliant. Third place.
Lovely stuff. Podium position for Griffin Meek, but he has to clear Griffin. As I said, they're both on similar tyre strategies, and Griffin goes, I'm not going to wait for the DRS. I'm going to try and look at Cop's corner, which would have been a very audacious move. Waits instead, just goes, look, I'm going to settle into this now, come through Magnussen and Beckett's, and then use the DRS to attack back.
Exciting stuff. I mean, if this was a real Silverstone race, I think we'd be quite pleased with the outcome, because there's been some nice overtaking maneuvers there. We've had a clear winner, let's face it. Manuel is dominating the field. He's leading Vettiati by 4.6 seconds.
And around the final corner, in fact, to secure his second win in a row. And, well, is he already on that plane? Well, when we're allowed to go on planes, will he be on that plane? I'm sure Manuel is looking at that top prize, all expenses paid trip to E3. Here's Benson just ahead of Bolt for P6. Is Bolt going to look up the inside? He is indeed. They're going to be side by side into the penultimate corner. A little bit of wheel banging. Who's that coming through as well? That's Benson getting involved. And oh, it's so close over the line. But there's Benson from Bolt, and then Milo, in fact, was the last car getting involved there. And here's Supercar Blondie about to make it 1-1 in the series.
Oh. Looks like we are now even between Alex and Craig.
Could easily go the wrong way. Let's wait until she finishes.
Well, we shouldn't put it past her. As long as there's a bit of a race to go, this could all go horribly wrong. But the concentration, look at her face. The concentration level that she's exhibited throughout the course of this race, I've got to say, we've got to give her some credit for this.
It's over now. She's going to realise very shortly that it's over. She doesn't have to race anymore. It takes over. The game takes over. But that was a bit of fun, and the two celebrity guests, Craig David, Supercar Blondie, doing pretty damn well.
I think a little ripple might be in order, because they both survived without being disqualified. So that was a better race. Congratulations to the rest of the field as well. You were all very, very consistent. You're doing amazingly well, battling hard to secure those prizes.
I love how it's like, yeah, just all of you, you're doing great. I can't, there's 18 of you, come on, or 17.
And to everybody whose name I butchered earlier, I can only apologise. But yeah, you're doing better than I possibly could, believe me. Whew, good stuff, exciting. It's a good watch.
It is. Look, I mean, what else is there really to do at the moment? Not much. But no, it's brilliant action. And as I say, I'm a big fanboy of Craig David. If you're just tuning in, I'm sure you knew already because we've been talking about it a lot. But it's great to see two personalities from completely different worlds come together on this and race against these 17 drivers that probably really appreciate it as well. The fact that they're at home, their own setup, and they're getting to race Craig David and Supercar Blondie. I mean, put that on the CV.
I know. Speaking of which, I think we can now go live to the McLaren Technology Centre to have a word with... Let's start with you, Craig David. What happened out there?
He's vibing.
Are you happy?
You know what? Firstly, I mean, look, we didn't come through, but I got to learn the track a lot better. The spin out, the start wasn't great. Matt, loads of respect for you too, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I know you've been saying some very kind things in the studio, but lots of love, man. You're wicked at what you do. Like, when you're playing the game, you're just like, you have kudos to you. So, yeah, I'm learning the game. 1-1 at the moment between me and Supercar Blondie.
Well, look, Craig,
so, if all goes down to Monza.
If you want to look back at the race, turn one, you're still leading. Yeah. That's better than Australia, and I'm sure you can take that. Just clip that little bit of highlight up, get rid of the rest of the race. But generally speaking, both of you much more consistent and slowly getting there, I'd say.
Yeah, it feels. It feels like you almost want to. run a few laps prior to actually going onto the circuit, which is obviously not the way it is. Like you prep beforehand. I thought I had. I was braking super hard in turns that just needed to kind of coast through them, and then I was sort of setting myself up for failure. But kudos to Alex as well. Alex is amazing. Right? You know, she's flying around that circuit. I ended up last, but I feel like I'm learning the game every time I play this. You know what I mean?
Do you feel you do feel like you're improving somewhat, because your performance in Albert Park was mixed? Let's put it that way. There was a lot of spinning.
Is that you being nice?
Yeah, I'm trying to be as nice as I can, but there was a bit of spinning. I know it's a different type of circuit in Silverstone, but are you getting a feel for the game now? Are you starting to enjoy it a bit more? What's happening?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the game is great. I mean, just looking at the setup and how it works. I wanted to go back to be on manual. I really didn't want to go to automatic stuff. I'd like to learn my way through the game. And you're playing people who are really good at this. Everyone when you're seeing the pack, all the guys who tuned in and have got the chance to play, you guys, you're wicked. The girls and guys who are playing, respect to you, because I'm learning. I'm like, wow, I've got a long way to go, but you know what I mean? In the fire, you know what I mean? I'm in the fire and I learn quickly.
Speaking of fire, Alex, Supercar Blondie, you were on fire, so consistent during that race, and managed to maintain the right direction, which is a massive, massive win. How do you feel?
It was a massive win for me, yeah, and finishing as well, a massive win. Look, I took your strategy from studio. I could hear you before the race started, so I took my shoes off. So that worked in my favour, I think. Yeah. Because I actually drive a lot without my shoes on. So I just thought it might be a little inappropriate to get my shoes off for the race today, but I thought, nah, whatever.
Winning is everything. Get them off immediately.
Yeah, winning is everything, exactly. Yeah. And, no pedicure or anything, just whack the shoes off. And, it seemed to help, so.
I absolutely love that you've taken a bit of advice, which I didn't know you were even hearing. But it clearly worked for you.
Yeah.
It clearly worked. I mean, you were particularly consistent, the right way facing, which is also great.
Right.
But to be fair, you said that you'd never driven this circuit. I feel like you may be telling a few porkies.
Do you know, I think it was like beginner's luck. You know when you've just never done anything before in your life and you end up winning? I mean, not that I won. I came second to last, which for me was kind of a victory. So, as long as I beat Craig, I'm good, These other guys are incredible. You see them lap you, and then within a split second, you've already lost them again around the next corner. It's incredible. So shout out to you guys. You're doing amazing.
Yeah, they're doing tremendously well. I feel like, you were supposed to win Melbourne based on your previous performance during the camp. And, despite all odds, you've managed to emerge with some sort of victory over Craig David around Silverstone. But it all comes down to Monza. So how will your strategy for Monza evolve? How are you going to maintain that edge?
Well, I've learnt from my first two races, so I'm going to continue with the shoes off strategy. I also took my glasses off for that race, and that seemed to work as well. So
not
I don't
seeing.
know what's going on with that. Not seeing kind of worked for me.
Driving on instinct is better than being able to see what's going on. I love that approach. I hope you don't do that in real life.
Please no.
Well, no, I don't, but maybe I should. I think I need a different prescription. I think I need to go back and just say these glasses aren't working for me. So I'm going to ditch them as well. No shoes, no glasses. And I've got an energy drink here next to me, so that's good. And my strategy really is to not spin out in the first 10 seconds, because that's where I always go wrong. You've got all of these incredible drivers right next to you, and they just take off, and everyone hits you from every angle, and that's it. And then I spin out, and I lose so many seconds. So that's my strategy, not to spin out. Let's hope.
All right. Well, good luck for the next race. I think maybe let's give Matt. Can you give Craig any words of advice, any words of wisdom to take into the next race?
Well, Alex took her shoes off. So, Craig, if you fancy taking your shoes off, mate, it gives you so much more feel on the brake and the accelerator. But apart from that, I think lap one, that's the only thing for you, but for both of you, is lap one. Just make sure that you don't get kind of barged out of the way. Get your elbows out. Send them into the wall rather than you. Just go on.
Love that.
He's such a nice guy. He's like, yeah, maybe I'll do that.
No. I didn't know it was on me. I was just catching it late. I was just taking it in.
You're in Monza, Craig. You're in Monza.
I went into Monza mode. I went to It's all bizarre. Like, is he?
He's falling asleep. He's falling asleep from the pasta earlier. That's
It's fine. If Craig doesn't win now, it's because he wasn't listening to me. It's fine.
All right, congratulations, guys. You're doing fantastically. It's now 1-1. I think we should take a look at the classifications to see exactly who finished where. I think that it's worth a recap because...
Well, it's done for Manuel, isn't it, really? It's pretty much, well, 2P1s is a fantastic job. He just needs to make sure he doesn't get stuck in to the mess of lap 1, which he hasn't done in the first 2, but it can easily happen. It's a bit of luck. It's not all just skill, avoiding other people crashing and spinning, but Manuel starting towards the front will help that. But there are some other great drivers, Bettiatti, Griffin, Meek, Griffin. They had a great battle, didn't they, for the final podium position. And then, you know, you've got a few others that are maybe struggling a bit more, but I'm sure they're all enjoying just being here, right?
Well, yeah, they're having a good time. They've all won a steering wheel and pedals.
It's not the worst thing, is it?
Absolutely. The top 3 are still in with a shot of winning that console of their choice. Let's now take a look at the overall leaderboard, see where we stand.
Oh, I mean, that's... Well, I mean, I'm not going to say anything because I know I'll somehow manage to jinx Manuel, but a 21-point lead means that he'll need to finish probably around 8th to secure the all expenses trip to E3.
I think you've just jinxed him. I think that's exactly what you've done.
So all Griffin, Meek, Bettiatti and Benson have to do is win and hope Manuel somehow finishes outside the points. But hey, anything can happen in Grand Prix racing.
Is there a way of pushing him off the track? Could they gang up together, maybe take? Because that's what they have to do. I feel that's how I feel.
Are you trying to say, you know? I mean, elbows is fine, but I think if Manuel was sent into a barrier somewhere because someone sent another message to someone else, there might be a few words exchanged.
All right. Well, before we head over and have a look at Monza, let's have a look at the highlights from Silverstone. The start was eventful. They both got away really well.
Oh, Craig David leading into turn 1. It was a great start from Craig, to be honest. Cleared Manuel, but then unfortunately just getting used to the game in terms of how much momentum you can take, a bit of expression there as well.
Not happy at all.
Not happy with one of the drivers, not sure who that was, but there is Craig just running a little bit wide. At that point, was leading ahead of Supercar Blondie, but then a few mistakes. This one in particular.
Straight over instead of making the corner.
Well, you told me he had racing line on, and then unfortunately went a little bit too far left and onto the grass, and then look at the concentration from Supercar Blondie. Loving the camera angle there. Craig just...
Look, you can see racing light is on.
Yeah. So,
I mean...
Look, I was trying to give him some kind of excuse here, Rory. but it's still great to see. And here is Alex, lap 7 of 13, midway through. And yeah...
Got a rotation there.
A lot of... I mean, you don't see that in real-life Formula 1. You know, 3 times round on the steering wheel is not what you usually see. 180 degrees is usually the maximum amount. And this was a great battle between Benson and Bolt for P6 and potentially still in the mix for a console if they finish in the top 3. And again, Griffin, Meek and Griffin. You couldn't have chosen their names, could you, for production purposes. And here's Manuel over the line to the right.
Weaving for the victory. Absolutely tremendous race. I think everybody is settling in very, very nicely as we come out of the second race in the 3-part series now. And now we head into Monza, yet another track that my friend has never ever been to that I have.
Cool, thanks. Anything else? Never been to the Boone, Matt? Okay, cool. But yeah, the Temple of Speed is going to be brilliant to watch. It's going to be one of those things where you can really get opportunities to overtake. I think this is the easiest one to settle yourself into. You've got a few chicanes, and this is the track guide right now. So this first corner is going to be very difficult for the drivers on lap 1. I know I said to both Craig and Alex to take it easy, but it's going to be so difficult to keep out of the trouble in turns 1 and 2. You've got a few more chicanes. You've got Lesmo 1 and 2, which is fast right-handers. But overall, I'd say this is quite a nice flowing circuit, a few chicanes to negotiate, but overall, a lot of it is high speed, straights, using your DRS to get the overtaking done.
Would you say this is an easier track than the previous 2 for a novice to take on?
Yes, because the amount of time that you just full throttle and you can think about the next corner. I think that's generally quite a novice track in some ways. Being able to then just break into the first couple of chicanes is going to be the tricky part. Lap 1, just stay out of trouble. If they're listening right now, just try and stay out of trouble. Take it slowly if you have to, because it's going to be a mess.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of corners on there with a lot of runoff area. So if you do get it wrong, it's forgiving. So don't worry too much. if you get into trouble, but just kind of rein it in a little bit. Don't overdrive it, because when you push too hard, that's where things start to go wrong, and that's where your opponent may get an edge on you. But yeah, let's join it.
Oh, here we go.
Now.
The final race of the series. 5 lights and away we go. And Craig David gets a monumental start from second on the grid. And they're side by side. No, in fact, actually a bit slower now is Craig David. Not sure what's happened to his speed. Supercar Blondie leads the race into turn 1.
Can she make the turn?
Continues. Well, actually decides, you know what, the first chicane doesn't really exist, but continues to lead. Supercar Blondie from Manuel and Stachendra in 3. There's big contact in the back there as one of the cars going spearing into the wall. But Supercar Blondie continues to lead.
Can we just revel in the moment right now? Because Supercar Blondie is maintaining the lead. We're now halfway through the first lap. She's just run wide and she's lost the lead, but for a moment, she was top of the field.
Yeah, Manuel getting a little bit stuck into this as Supercar Blondie goes wide, and big collision there and into the wall. Craig David still running in P6, running beautifully well through his middle sector as we come down towards the final few corners and then heading down to Parabolica. Here is Craig, he's running in P6 and loving life. Look at the concentration on it in his eyes.
Meanwhile, Alex.
Oh, it's very wide into Ascari. Oh my God, he's come out on top. Craig David, take a bow.
Well, the man did say that Monza was his favourite track and that he was practicing this particular circuit, and it looks like it's all about to pay off, running in 7th place ahead of Benson.
This is what I mean. This is all he needed to do, and both of them was just, oh no.
Okay, we spoke to
I wasn't saying anything, it's fine. He bounces off the wall, he continues. I love his reactions, it's brilliant, but he's still not last. Running in P15 at the moment. Supercar Blondie, oh no.
She's been
Supercar
disqualified.
Blondie.
I mean, she has form, let's face it. I mean, I take it.
What's happened?
Has she gone the wrong way around the
Surely
circuit?
not.
Again? She's thrown it all away on lap 2.
I'm shocked.
I'm not shocked, because she's done it before.
Oh, no, but it was such a consistent performance around Silverstone. Come to Monza, Craig David vibing in P12.
Vibing heavily.
I believe Supercar Blondie disqualified.
I believe that there's a slight risk that Alex might have put her glasses back on, and that's been her undoing. Terribly disappointing performance so far from Alex, but as you say, Craig David is...
Ferrari in the wall. Craig up to 11th now.
Still in the mix.
Just on the outskirts of the points is Craig. Right on the back of Milo. And to be fair, it was quite funny. I was just looking at Craig David's reactions there when he was braking. He does exactly what I do, which is the braking face, where your face just scrunches up and does some weird looks. And I think a lot of racers and sim racers do that. But it's just funny to see our 2 celebrity guests potentially doing that as well. Here's Craig defending from Barbara Skarg, ... We don't know the full name, but up to 11th. Coming back up the inside at Parabolica. That is brave, and unfortunately Craig has hit the wall again.
Overcooked it ever so slightly, but good to see he's in the mix, and he's actually competing up in 13th place, which is he hasn't yet seen so far in the previous 2 races.
This is impressive. We're on lap 3, and he's not in last by quite a substantial margin. Unfortunately, we can't focus. Okay, that I don't think...
That's technically illegal.
Yeah, that's a 5-second time penalty for Craig, unfortunately, and also maybe some choice words coming from Barbara Skarg, because that has ruined, unfortunately, that man's race.
Yeah.
I think I need to run Craig through the different colours of the racing lines. So green is accelerate, yellow is start to brake, and red is definitely please brake. And I feel like somewhere in the red, Craig still hasn't braked.
Can you clarify which colour in that code is crash into the nearest rival?
I'm not sure. It might just be on his version of the game. Okay, I'm not sure. But either way, Craig David's still not in last. He just needs to brake for that first chicane. But still, overall, a much more improved performance.
Well, let's just have a look at where he is now. He's about 12 seconds ahead of Dines, who's running dead last. He's 12 seconds behind Barbara Skarg, ... The man with the name that we don't quite know the full version of at the moment. But he's doing better, I think, on Monza than he has done on Silverstone. And in Australia. So the man's actually a man of his word. He's living up to what he described that would happen. So we can only, really give him the credit that he deserves.
Here's Bettiatti and Sozzi fighting into the first chicane, which is always going to spell disaster. A little bit of gravel being kicked up as they continue to go side by side towards this next chicane. Who's going to come out on top? Bettiatti just ahead at the moment of Sozzi, and it looks like Sozzi has dipped into the slipstream now. Will he have a look into this next chicane? Probably not wise, and continues on the rear diffuser in P7. But a great little battle here into Lesmo 1 now. Bettiatti still ahead. Millington slowly closing in as well on this battle for P6, but if we take a look at the lead, guess who's back out in front? It's Manuel, only 4 tenths ahead of Sachendra right now, who hasn't had the greatest of series and isn't in the mix for winning this series, as far as I'm aware, as they continue to be side by side almost down towards Ascari.
Yep, credit to Sachendra, because at one point he was a mere 0.3 of a second behind Manuel, and you know, if you're that close to the man who's been dominating the series so far, you've got to give yourself some credit. So he's actually still within DRS mode. DRS is very powerful on Monza, so I think that he's still in with quite a good shot if he can maintain concentration. He's actually closing in now, 0.3 seconds behind Manuel.
Yeah, with DRS that could be an opportunity. Maybe down to or in the middle sector down towards Ascari. This is pretty frantic, isn't it? These 3 cars battling down towards turn 1. Milo, Bettiatti and Sozzi. You've got Sozzi at the back of this queue. Is he going to have a look up the inside? No, instead pushes the car around turn 1 instead. And we've actually got penalties for P4, P5 and P6. So this battle could easily be for the outskirts of the podium.
Let's have a look back at the back of the grid now. Craig David still not last by any stretch of the imagination. He's still ahead of Leron Dimiz, I believe is how you say your name, sir. Apologies again if I'm not pronouncing it right.
Leron yeah, it's very difficult to say straight off the tongue, isn't it? But that battle's about to happen, I think, as he is closing in on Craig David. 2.5 seconds back now. You can see this is the battle we all want to see, isn't it? For P17. Can Craig keep it on the... No, he can't keep it on the black stuff for the first couple of corners. But hey, didn't get a penalty, isn't disqualified. Supercar Blondie is just going to be watching and admiring.
Alex is out of the race. The battle between these two was always about who was going to come last or second to last. So I now want to see Craig David hang on to second to last position. So if he can maintain that gap ahead of P18, I'm not going to try and say your name again because it's really no offense, then I will call that a monumental win for Craig David, not coming last, regardless of wherever Supercar Blondie is placed.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think, oh no, that's going to be in the wall for Craig David, and that's going to allow P18, as we're going to call him, to go past. And unfortunately for Craig, he also has quite a few penalties in his pocket as well. So unfortunately, it looks like Craig will be finishing the last of the runners. Here's a battle for P4 between Dua and Ismailoglu. I'm very... that flies out of your mouth. When I try to say it, it just does not come out. But either way, Dua is still ahead in P4. And they're quite a while behind the front 3. Sachendra still within
hanging in there, isn't it? Really, really doing well. I mean, if you can get anywhere near Manuel, then you've got to give yourself a pat on the back. But he is less than a second behind Manuel at the moment.
Ismailoglu.
Ismailoglu in 5th position. So we've got Griffin.
Great name.
Griffin is fantastic. Griffin in 3rd place from Dewar, Ismailoglu, Bettiatti, Millington,
The way you
Sozzi.
say that is just incredible.
It's a total,
Are you sure you're not some sort of rapper?
Total fluke. We should challenge Craig David to say Ismailoglu. I'm sure he's the only one here who can get it right properly, consistently. Benson not doing fantastic. After a really good showing in Australia, running in position 9 at the moment.
Craig's going to have to be careful here, Rory, because he's added another 3-second time penalty to his plethora of penalties he's already got under his belt. So if he gets too many, the game will say you can't play anymore, and we don't want that, because then technically Supercar Blondie could say that it's a draw series, you know, because they're both disqualified.
Yeah, if you both don't finish, then you both don't get any positions. So absolutely, yeah. So good luck to Craig on that. Keep it on a straight and narrow, mate. Keep it clean. Bring it over the line.
Ismailoglu now still in the slipstream of Dewar into this second chicane. There's going to be nothing doing into here because it's very much single file as we come into this middle sector of the lap.
Oh, big mistake there.
Oh, very slidey indeed, and a bit of contact there from Ismailoglu. And Duar's now gone wide up the inside at Lesmo 1. There's contact between the two of them, and Duar's somehow still ahead after that contact.
Amazing stuff between these two. Really, really competitive. They might not be in with a shout of winning the overall 3-race series, but they're all giving it their all. Fantastic stuff.
The elbows are definitely out, up the inside into Ascari. That'll be a great move. And it is indeed up to P4 goes Ismailoglu. and ahead of Duarte. Now, Duarte has to stay within the DRS if he possibly can, within that 1 second window. You can see it on your screens. It's now 0.7 of a second. He doesn't want it to go to a second. As here comes into the pits, we got Manuel and Sachendra.
Contact.
That was very naughty from Sachendra, because that could have easily allowed Manuel to break the pit lane speed limiter
and cause a fiery accident.
Yeah, well, and also the fact that he would have got a penalty. We've got no damage, so fortunately there won't be any fiery accidents. No damage on this particular race. And Sachendra's actually got out ahead of Manuel. So somehow, with that little bump into the rear diffuser coming into the pit, Sachendra now leads this race from Manuel. That won't change the final standings for this series, because Manuel really needs to not finish in the points for the other drivers to have a chance. Craig David now. Oh, he's been disqualified!
Yep, for corner cutting, disqualified
You're
from the
joking!
session. Amazing, amazing stuff.
The one thing we told them not to do!
Repeatedly cutting the corners led to a final penalty, which means Craig David has been disqualified. Supercar Blondie has been disqualified, and that leaves them with 1 victory apiece.
I don't know how we're going to measure this. I think there's going to be a lot of discussion, especially from Supercar Blondie's side, of saying, look, well, we're both disqualified. It technically does say Craig David P18, but neither of them are classified because they have both been kicked from the session. And, well, that's official now, that every single one of these 17 drivers have beat
back
their
up
heroes.
at the front, Manuel's just retaken the lead from Sachendra.
He has.
Excellent racing between those two. We thought that he might be on to lose that winning streak, but no, he's just reclaimed the lead.
He wants to win it. He wants to get the clean sweep. But this time, Sachendra will have the DRS as we come on to the pit straight in a 1 moment's time. Round Parabolica we come, and a little bit wide from Sachendra.
That might actually help him. I don't know if he's got a better exit off that corner.
Very quickly. Let's get the DRS open and see. He should clear by turn 1, and he takes the lead again. Manuel will dip into the slipstream, but without DRS, no chance.
He also appears to have a low signal next to his name there. Maybe that's what's causing the problem. His ping is not what it used to be, and now he's in second place.
Oh, bit of contact actually in that first chicane, and Sachendra now has an opportunity to extend that lead. Here's Millington on Bettiatti. That's very rude indeed. Duarte's watching this unfold behind as well, and Millington, after a bit of a controversial contact and one of the signs being broken as well, is up to P5, and well, I'm sure that Bettiatti might have a few words to say about that move.
Absolutely. It looks as if Griffin might now be closing ever so slightly on Manuel as well. So
yeah,
maybe losing the lead is causing him to lose his cool. But having said that, he's also closing on Sachendra as well. So this race is far from finished as we now tick into almost on lap 10 of 13.
So if you're just joining us, unfortunately, Craig David and Supercar Blondie are both out of the race. We saw it coming, didn't we, Rory? We saw, well, especially with Craig and unfortunately racking up the penalties.
Yep.
If you get too many of them, well, that's it, and you are out of the session. So unfortunate stuff, but he was disqualified later than Supercar Blondie, so therefore, I assume in his eyes, he has won the series.
Well, it might come down to laps completed. I mean, maybe that's a fair way of assessing their performance, choosing the least worst person.
Here comes Manuel for the lead again. Sachendra goes defensive. They're going to go side by side into turn 1. Oh, Sachendra gets a penalty, a 3-second time penalty for cutting that first corner, and that is going to gift Manuel the victory if he just sits there and relaxes now.
Yeah, amazing stuff. I think Sachendra maybe got a little bit ahead of himself right there. He thought that he might be in with a shot of victory, maybe overcooked it, didn't want to relinquish the lead on that corner, ended up cutting the corner, and now he's going to pay the price. So unless Manuel makes a mistake, then yeah, that's an easy victory.
Indeed it is. So Manuel will know about that as well. He will see that Sachendra has a penalty. Here's Griffin Meek defending from Bettiatti, who was just involved in that incident on the last lap or so, trying to make up a few positions after being quite rudely knocked off the track by Millington. Griffin Meek has been involved in all kinds of action over the course of these 3 races we've seen today. Australia, Great Britain, and now Italy, of course, around the iconic Monza track. And here's Manuel once again. He wants to still win this.
Absolutely.
On the track, Rory.
Yeah, he's already going to win, but let's face it, but he actually wants to finish on the circuit ahead of Sachendra, and it looks as if he might just be too far now. He's within DRS, but I don't think he's close enough to make that overtaking manoeuvre, diving down the inside towards the end of the straight. Let's see.
Not close enough. And you can see on the steering wheel as well, he has hardly any battery available to him as well. So he's been pushing hard. And it's kudos to Sesendra to really be taking the fight to Manuel, because it's not like Manuel's just biding his time right now. He's got no battery left. You can see that light on his rear diffuser flashing, which means he's in energy saving mode at the moment, but he's still going to go for the move potentially. Thinks better of it going into this chicane. He doesn't want to throw this away as much as he's got a nice buffer to the drivers behind.
What would you do in this situation? Would you maintain position and just concentrate on keeping within that 3 seconds, or would you try and go for the glory and overtake on the circuit?
Well, you know, every racing driver has an ego. They want to finish at the front, even if a driver has a penalty in front of them. And here we go, Manuel going to go to the inside towards Ascari. Should be a nice, easy move if he spots his braking point, which he does. Is there going to be any contact from Sesendra behind? Very close on the rear diffuser, and you can see the light flashing again. I think Sesendra will be able to get him back here, as it appears he has a bit more battery available to him as we come down towards Parabolica for the 12th time.
What an exciting battle for first place. It's kind of academic because we know that Sesendra has that penalty. I almost wish that he hadn't, you know, made that move to cut the corner, because
awesome.
this would be an incredible finish now. Lap 12 of 13. Let's see who crosses that line first towards the end of the race.
Starting lap 12 now, actually. So here we go. Sesendra still leading, going into the first chicane. Manuel just slowly, surely, just the question that you asked, Rory, about what would I do in this situation. If I'm Manuel and I've tied up the series, I'd go for a move, because you want to win every single race and have it on your record, but do it sensibly.
Yeah.
Use the DRS to your advantage. There's so many great overtaking opportunities around this circuit. There's so many DRS zones, one of which is going to come after these two Lesmos, these two 90-degree right-handers. You'll then have DRS for the second time in this lap.
It's worth pointing out as well that Griffin is a mere 2.2 seconds behind Manuel. So if the two leaders now, Sesendra and Manuel, do tangle with each other a little bit too much, that might present an opening for Griffin to maybe snatch the victory at the last second.
That would definitely secure him a console at the very least. Manuel gets very wide on the exit of Ascari there, but gets away with it, 4 tenths behind, and is closing, as we see a lapped marker there of Cooper Grove. Fortunately for the leaders, the car ghosts, so there's not really any trouble with lapping. But Manuel now, he's still saving battery. You can see that red light still flashing, which means he's turned his engine down, his energy recovery system down, and so has Sesendra. So they're both saving on this final lap to really go on the attack, or the defence, I guess, if you're Sesendra, for this final half of the lap. I don't think Manuel will try and make a move just yet. Speaking of moves, Griffin Meek and we've got Dewar as well, going side by side down towards turn 1.
Amazing stuff. I mean, it's such a shame that this has happened, that we've lost Supercar Blondie, we've lost Craig David, both been disqualified, but the level, bit of contact there, the level of driving between the rest of the field, all our 18 competitors has been, well, frankly, it's been off the charts, really. It's been really spectacular to watch, some great racing.
It's been much less chaos than I expected, which is brilliant to see.
Massive compliment.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot. Lots of potential in this field, and great to see the likes of Manuel, who looks very certain of securing first position in this series unless something absolutely drastic happens. But Sesendra is going to finish first on track by the looks of things, but it's going to be Manuel that takes the victory with that 3-second time penalty for this driver that we're taking a look at right now. Round the final corner comes Sesendra, who will take the victory around this Monza circuit, but it will be Manuel who secures 3 from 3 and wins this series and the all-expenses paid trip to E3. What a brilliant drive from Manuel.
Well, let's just clarify something very quickly. He hasn't won the trip to E3 as yet, because there will still be more chances for other people to enter and compete against their heroes before the actual winner is decided.
But I blew my load too early.
You did just get a little bit ahead of yourself there, Matt, but congratulations to Manuel, 3 for 3 in this series, absolutely destroying the rest of the field. Sesendra with a bit of a moral victory, perhaps, by, you know, competing so close up at the top of the field there. Griffin in 3rd place, Milo, Griffin Meek, Ismailoglu, Sozi, Bettiati, Benson, Bates, Dewar, Bolt, Barber Skarg, something, Dines, Laronimede, Cooper Groves.
The first time a commentator's ever said something at the end of someone's name.
I do apologise, but fantastic race. We can take a breath now.
We can. Well, yeah, and I can stop announcing prizes that haven't been run yet.
Do we have a chat with? Let's talk to Alex. No, let's go to Craig first. Actually, let's talk to Craig. Craig,
Yes, sir.
you were doing so well. You were doing so well, mate. You know, Alex was at the back of the field. She was out of contention. What happened?
Do you know what? I mean, I was listening to Matt what he said about like muscle in, and I've really muscled in. I was seeing like 6-7 for a moment. I was like, oh my God, we're in the mix here. Like, and then again, a couple of stupid errors, like going around the tight corners, cutting the corners, got the penalties, and then obviously got disqualified. But I did notice I got disqualified at 18.
See, there it is.
Not 19.
Yeah.
So.
See, we're having a bit of a debate on how to call this because technically you beat Alex around Australia and Alex beat you around Britain, but then you both got disqualified in Italy. So technically it's 1-1, but you're claiming a victory, I take it.
I mean, you have to take it. You got. I mean, just looking at the stats, yeah. I'm just looking at the. I'm seeing that I was qualified for one. The second one went a bit pear-shaped, and then boom, I'm looking at 18, 19 in the disqualification ranking. So I would say that is a 2-1 if you're just going by stats.
I knew it. I knew that you'd come in with that, Craig, which is fair enough. You know, competitive. You want to win, and to be fair, I'd be doing exactly the same in your situation. You mentioned getting your elbows out in that race, which we fully applauded. The fact that you were running in 6th at one point after 3 laps. Would you say that you kind of just enjoyed the whole experience, especially when you were in the mix? You know, after not having these lap 1 shenanigans, you were certainly in the mix until a couple of errors.
Yeah, Matt, I love it, man. Like it's when you're in the pack and you're in with everyone, and like it gets real competitive. You start to feel the game. You actually feel like you're playing the game with everyone that's there. So I can imagine it must have been amazing for the rest of the guys who are really getting competitive against each other. But when it gets lonesome when you're by yourself, and you're just like, oh my God, how are we here again? But I can only but improve from here. But for any gamer out there who's ready to play this game, man, you're going to have some fun. It's such a good game, especially if you take all the assists off and like really start to learn it. And when you master it, wow, you're going to have some fun.
So, Craig, you're claiming the victory over Alex. Let's cast your mind back to boot camp and masterclass when, when you walked into the building at the McLaren Technology Centre, maybe people didn't give you the credit you deserved, give you any hope of maybe being victorious in this series. You won the BATAC, but you didn't perform to your best during the actual practice sessions. Did you think that you might emerge victorious against Supercar Blondie? Was there any doubt in your head that you'd perform this well?
I mean, I always say practice makes progress. That's not necessarily perfection. So I was just progressing, man. I was like, that was boot camp. That's what it's for, Don't get too hyped to boot camp. And then when it comes to race day, okay, we went up with the main, but just between me and Alex, it was very competitive, and it was kind of nice to come out on top in that way. But I guess for both of us, we have some practicing to do, because those getting disqualified and trying to see who won out of who just got disqualified first is not the one. That's not the move.
You mentioned, Craig, that Monza was the one that you'd choose to certainly vibe with and get a good result. What was it about Monza that clearly just clicked with you, apart from obviously when you got disqualified, but we won't talk about that part. But the actual pace was decent. What was it about it?
Do you know what I love is that because there's super tight corners that you have to slow down. I was getting the tips and the advice of get down into second gear to get round those corners, really slow down. So in those corners, a lot of confusion, a lot of crashes are going to happen. There's a lot of mess that can happen there. So I think that you can use that to your advantage, especially if you're finding yourself like you're getting a little distant in the pack. Get there, it gets really constricted, and everyone's sort of like fighting, and I think that's where you can take maybe 2 or 3 cars. Someone might crash, you might get 4 places. So it's a brilliant circuit, and I've thoroughly enjoyed racing that one. That was fun.
Well done, Craig. Superb performance. Let's go over to Alex now.
Thank you.
Alex is apparently, I can hear in my earpiece, she's busy crying somewhere.
She's probably gone home, Lewis. It's like lap 2 that she was at, wasn't it?
Well, she's driving backwards down the track somewhere. Let's take a look at their highlights on the circuit.
So that it was probably the best of the lot, I'd say, just purely from the fact that Craig David got absolutely stuck in, got his elbows out, as he said. A bit interested to see why he lost so much progress going down towards turn 1. Maybe missed a gear, or I think he mentioned it was maybe an auto and wasn't giving it enough beans. But either way, there's the no. You can kind of lip read
All
that from
going wrong.
Supercar Blondie, who was still P2 going into Lesmo 1, and then it just all kind of unfolded very quickly.
I didn't actually see the cause of Supercar Blondie's disqualification. I'm wondering whether she did end up going backwards or.
This was good, by the way. Sorry, just very quickly. Yeah. Craig David got his elbows out and won that battle of 3 going into Ascari. Which, come on, would we have said after Australia?
No, she's confused. Look at Alex right now. She doesn't know exactly what's going on at the moment. It's disappointing. She's massively disappointed. I feel for her really, because she was in with the shot of securing the win.
I'm genuinely wondering what she's done that bad within 2 laps. She must have gone the wrong way.
It could have been. I mean, I wouldn't put it past her. But let's
It's already happened today.
They both got disqualified, so we need to give props where it's due to Manuel, who secured the victory overall, winning all 3 races, despite finishing just behind Sachendra on track. But Sachendra had a 3-second penalty applied to his finish for cutting the corner. But on the whole, very exciting race, great overtaking, lots of action, lots of disqualification. Yeah,
it was brilliant to watch, and Manuel dominated the series. We don't like to see dominance, but I think that that particular last race was great and competitive, and I really enjoyed it, and it was a nice way to finish, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Right, let's have a look at the classification from that race.
So there you have it. Manuel, with that 3-second time penalty to Sachendra, winning the final race around Monza. And then you've got Griffin, Milo, Griffin, Meek. You can see the rest of the drivers there as well, because there's so many that are so difficult to say, Rory. But it's been great to have such a wide range of drivers involved. Some that clearly were struggling a little bit more, but overall, it was quite a nice competition.
So many in the 122s as well, in terms of their best laps. It was really, really super competitive.
And Griffin Meek probably kicking himself a little bit with fastest lap, but not really getting in the mix for the victory.
Yeah, all about consistency there. Hopefully we can take a look at the leaderboard next. I think we know what the leaderboard's going to say, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Gustavo Manuel, congratulations. 75 points, 3 from 3. Joshua Griffin Meek with 41 points. Great effort. Oliver Griffin on 33, Lucas Bettiatti on 32, Alex Benson, 29 points scored. Number 6 is Tom Milo with 24. Number 7, would you mind pronouncing that for me, Matt?
Sachendra.
Absolutely, good effort. Number 8 is Bates on 23 points. Ismail Oglu with 8 points, tied for last place. Well, for 9th and 10th was Sozzi. So congratulations to all our drivers. We look towards the bottom of the grid now.
They had to put the 2 at the bottom, didn't they?
Yeah. 0 points.
Oh, wait, Craig's going to have a word about that. Why is he 19th and not 18th?
Oh, hang on.
Hold on.
This changes everything. Supercar, I think it's gone into alphabetical because her surname begins with D.
I was going to say.
Begins with a D.
S in front of C.
No, I think it's all about surnames in this one. It might be.
Wow,
It might be that Supercar Blondie has won this race. We'll come to her if we can in a second and just figure out exactly.
But then Craig's probably going to ask what Alex's surname is, right? Because Supercar Blondie isn't her actual name.
Oh,
right? So
it's all coming down to these tiny, tiny technicalities. But yeah, I mean, we've seen 3 brilliant races. We've seen some phenomenal drivers. We've seen some great competition between all our contestants, and we've seen some less than stellar driving as well towards the back of the field. But I've enjoyed it, mate. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. It's been kind of a progression, hasn't it? From Australia, where we thought, oh, okay, right, is this what we've got for the next 2? But then it was still entertaining, but in a more of a crashy sense, whereas the end was genuinely, okay, well, maybe not Supercar Blondie so much, but that was her performance in Silverstone was what I probably expected in Monza, but she had it a bit earlier and then got disqualified again. But either way, it was a progression, at least for Craig, to really show that he's getting used to the game, vibing as he likes to call it, and it's been good fun.
Okay, cool. Well, let's head back and say well done to Craig again. I'm not sure we can actually reach Supercar due to some technical difficulties, but Craig, we can talk to you. Massive congratulations. I'm assuming that you're incredibly pleased with your performance. I will say, though, that the final classification showed Supercar Blondie finishing ahead of you. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, well, firstly, I want to say thank you. Thank you to you guys. Thank you to VELO and the whole series. I think it's going to be great. I think you're going to enjoy a lot more people coming through that you want to beat, your heroes, which is going to be fantastic. Thank you to the McLaren team who kind of held me down. In terms of that leaderboard and then the bottom, I heard about some kind of alphabetical order and this and this and that. I'm just saying, I made sure that I looked at the stats. It doesn't add up quite right for me, but I'm not a sore loser. If that's what it is, and there's some kind of algorithm that's telling us right, I'll stand corrected and be a good
What a nice
loser.
guy.
Do you
What
know
a
what I mean?
nice
But I
guy.
know it's off though. I'm being honest though.
Gracious.
It's
I
a bit
love
funky
that.
though. Let's be honest.
Yeah, Craig, I don't know if you've been like listening in, but Matt is a massive super fan of yours. He told me a story about, where was it, Abu Dhabi?
Abu Dhabi.
Where you were performing and Matt was in the front row, rapping along word by word, and the two of you made eye contact, physically.
High five.
Hands. You
Yeah,
high
back when
five.
we could high five. Matt.
Yeah, and he's never washed his hand apparently. So
Do you know what? If I'm being super honest, I recognised, like when I knew from what you do in terms of racing, but I recognised, I said, I know we've met, but I don't want to be that guy that says we've met somewhere and you're like, no, it's the first time. That makes complete sense. And I remember the show as well. It was good times.
did you
Do know
meet
what I
him?
mean? So
Did you meet him?
hopefully we
Was it a Monday that you met him, or was it? A
No, I wasn't really sure on the days, my man. I knew you were going to go there, yeah, because that's like a classic sort of.
It was
chestnut,
definitely
but
Sunday
in
for
terms
Formula One.
yeah, it was a relaxed one. Do you know what I'm saying? But it was. I mean, hopefully we can get back to the fans getting out there and being able to see the games. But this is what it is, man. This is to be able to have E-Series like this that people can actually watch, and it's legit looking fantastic, and the gameplay is like so on point. It's great. So thank you for having me, and I had a really, really good time, and hopefully you can get through to Alex and say goodbye to her. She's amazing. She's done fantastic, and hopefully, again, showing the sport to be what it is. It's fantastic.
Just a final fanboy moment from me. Thanks, Craig. It's been great to commentate on you, and I hope to see you at TS5 soon.
Definitely. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, Rory. Thank you, man.
Congratulations, Craig. Hopefully we can now go over to Alex. We'll try one more time to see if we can reach her. Alex, can you hear us?
Yes. Hey,
excellent,
guys.
excellent. I thought you would maybe left the building for a moment, but you're back with us. Just your final thoughts on that race. I know it all. We didn't see what happened to you. Do you know what caused your disqualification?
Do you know what? I feel like I'm making up excuses right now, but honestly, I don't know what happened. I was braking, and it was actually going in reverse when I was braking, and I was like, what is happening? I honestly couldn't get it into either reverse or in first gear, and so I ended up just going backwards down the racetrack again, and that was it.
I mean, Alex, I don't know how you managed this, because when I saw that you were disqualified on lap 2, I was thinking you've done something pretty extraordinary. But it was such a shame, because you know you had such a great performance at Silverstone, and you were looking like you were. Well, obviously you had a pretty good first couple of corners, and then all of a sudden you're apparently in reverse.
Yeah. I don't know what happened, honestly. I feel like Craig got into my settings and just mucked around with a couple of settings there. I'm just going to go with that because I cannot imagine what else was happening there.
I just want to offer you some semblance of clinging on to a moral victory, maybe. It looked like the classifications showed you finishing slightly above Craig. Are you going to be gracious enough to give him the victory in this, or are you going to claim victory for yourself?
What? Wait, how is that even possible? I disqualified twice.
I think it's because Blondie alphabetically is above David, so the game might have put you in second to last position.
Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah. No, Craig can have this, absolutely. I see that he was disqualified as well on the third one, right? I think I saw that.
Excellent. Well, look,
right?
I think we're losing the signal a little bit there.
Oh, we're losing you. Okay.
But no, thank you so much for joining us. Your performance was incredible, I think is the word that I would use to describe it. But you've entertained us nonetheless. And also to Craig David, thank you so much for joining us. Man, it's been...
Thank you guys so much for having me.
No, our pleasure. Thanks for joining us. I think it's been such a tremendous series so far. I think we've learned a lot. Great drivers took part, lots of action. And quite frankly, there's still more time. You guys, if you still want to join the action and be in with a shot of winning great prizes, then you can do that. Make sure you head over to VELO E-Series, head over to the website, check exactly what the terms and conditions are for entering, because there will be another chance for you to beat your heroes and compete for great prizes. Matt, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it.
No, I loved it. It was awesome. You know, commentating on these guys is awesome, and I hope everybody watching really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, it's been emotional. It's been emotional. But yeah, guys, again, thank you so much for joining us. It's been intense. We're going to do this all again. So make sure you watch all of our socials for more information about when we're going to do this again. But for now, see you soon. Bye-bye.